sip of water before we get going. Hang on. You mean Coke? Nah, man. You know what? I will admit, though, I have had a few cans of Coke in the past couple of days. I will admit to it. What is up, everybody? What's up, everybody watching on Twitch? What's up to everybody watching on YouTube? What's up to everybody watching on Twitter? Well, what's up to everybody watching on Kick? Kick is like the forgotten platform over here. I gotta check it out. I gotta go over there and see what's going on. I can't imagine too much is going on. Like, is Kick still a thing? Are people still excited about it? Are people watching Kick? Somebody has to let me know. Josh, who does your intro? It's dope. It was made a long time ago. Made by somebody in Unreal Engine something or other. Morning, Josh. Hope you and the family are doing well. Thank you so much. How many platforms can you stream on? All of them. You can stream on all the platforms, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're working on. I want to be streaming on everything. I want you to be on Twitter, and then I'm streaming. And you're like, oh, geez. And then you open up Instagram, and I'm streaming. And you're like, oh, geez, I can't get away from this guy. And then you go over to YouTube, and I'm streaming. You walk out the door, somebody goes by with one of those screens on a big car, and it's me, and I'm streaming. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, I'm streaming. Grand Admiral Kenobi, welcome back to the Nerd Vendors, and Rossi, thanks for your usual dollar holla as we get in here. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. What's going on? What's going on out there in the wild? What's going on? But should you? I've heard mixed things about it. So far, I'm enjoying streaming everywhere, though. I think, honestly, it kind of depends. Depends on what you're trying to do. It depends on a lot of different things, but I personally think multi-streaming is a good move. It would depend on the size of your, audience. It would depend on what you were looking to actually do with your streams. But so far, so good. Yava, what's up, man? Says, hello, Josh. Hey, look, a year Nerdvenger for life. Oh, hell yeah, man. 12 months. Thanks, man. That's a lot of support. I appreciate it. How's your morning started, Josh? Appreciate you. Well, thank you, Afonso. I appreciate you. Morning's good. Morning's good. Woke up in a really good mood. Woke up feeling really good. Watched X-Men 97. Loved it. Thought it was incredible. I have a lot of thoughts about X-Men 97, not just the show, but made me kind of think a little bit about what's going on with Bad Batch and what's going on with Star Wars. So I wrote some notes down. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. I want to watch Paul's breakdown of the latest episode, get into that, see if we can point some stuff out, learn some stuff from him. Have you seen Twisted Metal? Says Joshua over on Twitter. No, I have not, man. No, not really. I heard it was actually decent, though. People were saying it was pretty good, but I have not checked it out. I loved Bad Batch episode, but Theory called it filler. Interesting. We'll talk about Bad Batch. I haven't watched it. I didn't watch I didn't watch last week's Bad Batch. So part of what I'm going to talk about with Bad Batch is like why I'm not kind of checked in with it, even though I really enjoy this season. I think the third season of Bad Batch is tremendous. Marvel coke hunting this morning and only found Daredevil and Iron Man again. For fuck's sake, yeah. I've been there. Yeah, I've been there, man. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'm going to take a lot of this over to the local fire department, though. Give the guys over there a bunch of free coke. So, it's not a total loss, but yeah. Yeah. Shogun last night was a bit of filler. What? No way. No way. I really, really enjoyed last night's Shogun. I thought it was tremendous. Filler? No way, fam. That's not filler, bro. Space Trick Serial TM. Hey, thanks so much for the 10 spot, man. That's very generous. Says, I made a stream. I missed you. Did you miss me? Ripped several blunts this morning. Now I sound like Grievous. Nice. Just got a job at ASM at Dispo. Also, this is my 6 months, so get me in the Diamond Lounge, baby. Yeah, we'll get you in there, man. Don't worry, we'll get you in there. We probably won't do another Diamond Lounge until next month, but yeah, we'll get you in there. They're pretty wild, you know? I wonder if someday we're going to have to stop doing the Diamond Lounges. You know, I think about that sometimes, where I'm just like, we're getting a little crazy in there. I don't know. Let's just hope nobody ruins it for the rest of us. You know what I mean? Den of cans. Yeah, we got a few cans. That's absolutely the case. We do have a few cans, man. Yeah. So Zendaya made Gangbang movie. Grace said it's amazing. Houseway. I don't know what that means. You don't say that about diamonds, Josh. Wait, what? Den of Daredevil. Yeah, we're rocking some Daredevil, man. We're rocking some Daredevil. And I don't know if you noticed, but Han is wearing my Daredevil hat, and he's holding a Coke. You can't really see it very well, and frankly, it kind of fell off. But yeah, we got a lot of Daredevil love around here. Fanara says, I'm from Sydney, Australia. I was about to see Civil War at that shopping mall. Saw it somewhere else at the end. Movie was good. I don't have reference for what you're talking about, brother. Like, I don't know what that shopping mall is. I barely know what the Civil War movie is. But, right on. Is that also Coke I see under Han's nose? Ugh! I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Are you collecting the 500 milliliter Marvel Coca-Cola bottles too? 500 milliliter? What are you talking about, Austin? I couldn't be a streamer just off those kind of chats. Yeah, I mean, dude, trust me. It every day. It's every day, bro. I mean, it's not every day. It's every day I stream. Get in here and I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Somebody found a keyboard. Oh, here we go. Yo, Josh, I live in CT and my girl loves Coca-Cola. That is good. What are you trying to say? That I should ship some over to you or something? Is that what you're trying to say? Bro, y'all see Dubai and shits right now? Yeah, it looks kind of crazy over there, huh? Flooding. A lot of water. It's a small plastic Coca-Cola bottle with Blade, Wolverine, etc. 500 milliliters. How many milliliters is... Speak American to me, bro. Speak American to me. Mad random, but I started watching Aliens, and that shit is fire. Aliens is great, dude. You're talking about the second one, right? The Cameron one? There was a dude targeting women and killed like 6 people in Sydney last week. Okay, yeah, that slid under my radar. Had no idea. Are you watching Shogun? It's a great show. Yeah, no, I'm loving Shogun, dude. Shogun's incredible. You know what's funny, dude? I wonder if you guys feel the same way. We're in a weird spot right now with entertainment. Or maybe it's just that I'm in a weird spot with entertainment. You guys let me know. There's so much good stuff out there right now. Like the Fallout show is incredible. Shogun continues to be incredible. And I'm not like, dude, Shogun is legitimately probably, I mean, it's too early to tell, and it's also like kind of a weird comparison, but I think it's just as good, if not better, than Game of Thrones. Like, I think it's that good. I frankly like it a little bit more than Game of Thrones. I'm starting to age. I'm starting to get old. And a part of me as I get old is less interested in all the gore and the violence and the edgelord shit. Which, I know, it's weird. Because, like, dude, I still like edgelord shit. Like, I love Berserk. Fire Punch is one of my favorite manga stories. So like I like edgelord shit, but I don't know, man. I'm watching Shogun, and it's still shocking. There's culture shock in it too, right? It's surprising, it's wild, but it doesn't feel like dirty. You know what I mean? Like Game of Thrones makes you feel a little dirty. Like you need to take a shower after it. You know what I mean? Join to say I hate Shine. Who's are you talking about My Time to Shine? Why do you hate Shine? Why do you hate Shine? But anyway, my point is this. It's crazy to be living through a time where there's so much peak entertainment. Fallout's incredible. Three Body Problem, incredible. Shogun, incredible. Invincible, I would still say incredible. A little less incredible than season 1, but still incredible. X-Men 97. And I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's more that's come out. And yet, I kind of feel like none of these shows, except maybe X-Men 97, and I think maybe Shogun's starting to get there. It almost feels like none of these shows are like popping off. Like, do you guys see, do you see what I'm saying? Like, doesn't it kind of feel like they're killing it? We're living in a golden age. Oh my God, holy shit. And yet, it kind of feels like all of them have a small imprint on social media, with fans, so to speak. The Exodus says, James Blendick voiced Apocalypse and Galactus. So should I know who Blendick is? Now I feel silly. Should I know who Blendick is? So, social media interaction isn't everything. Well, it's interesting that you say that. I mean, like, I get it, but I actually have a really interesting point to make about X-Men 97, that not to say that it is everything, but it is very important. And I even watched it. I've been watching some interviews with the Fallout creators, and one of the creators even kind of expressed this, was talking about how you kind of make shows for social media now, in the same way that you used to make content for critics. So that, like, he was making that point, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And I have an interesting point to make about X-Men 97 versus Bad Batch because of social media. But yeah, I don't know. I think the point remains. Like, I personally feel, and I'm a person that's in it, a little less so nowadays. Like, I'm a little less engaged myself, right? But there's a part of me that just feels like, I don't know, is this the new fandom? Is this kind of like what fandom looks like now, where it's much more divided and a little bit more niche? And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's perfectly fine. Frex says, what's up, brother? I'm soon going to get the new Star Wars Unlimited TCG. Hopefully it rocks. MTG Rival. I have not read any X-Men comics ever, but X-Men 97 is awesome. Okay, let's reverse this. Let's go in reverse. X-Men 97 is awesome. Hell yeah, man. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to gush all about it later today. Could the Star Wars game rival MTG? I don't know. We'll see. Magic the Gathering has, you and I both know, huge fan base. A lot of people really like it. Magic's been going through its own identity crisis, and I think there's a lot of fans that are kind of upset with them. The Star Wars game is interesting to me because I have no doubt it's a very well-designed game. It has a nostalgic kind of feel to it. I have seen some people kind of getting into it. Like, I saw the Act Man yesterday posting about this, like, $800 Boba Fett card that he got. And that's fantastic. You need shit like that to kind of pop off for a game to be very successful. But there's a lot of question marks about Fantasy Flight games because of the way they've handled their games in the past. That is maybe the one thing that's preventing me from really jumping on board with Star Wars Unlimited, even though, like, I agree with you. It looks really good. It looks really fun. Kind of an interesting situation. Appreciate the thought, though. Let's see here. Rossi says, Rank Shogun, Three Body Problem, Fallout, X-Men 97, and Invincible by your preferences. Well, number one, Shogun is not finished, and neither is X-Men 97. So it's going to be hard to make those comparisons. I guess this is what I would say. Rank them. So, Rossi, let me just ask you a question, right? If I ask you to rank tacos, chicken parmesan, General Tso chicken, I don't know. Let's just go with those three, right? If I ask you to rank those dishes, how would you rank those? Dumpling, sure. So you'd probably rank them a little bit just according to your own taste, right? It's less so like what food is better, it's just your taste. So what I'm saying is, like, to me, X-Men 97 is the top of the list. Because as being the person that I am, having the taste that I have, which is phenomenal. I have incredible taste. Let's just be honest. Let's put that out there. X-Men 97, of course, ranks the highest. Do you know what I mean? I would say next up, probably Shogun. Shogun is doing absolutely incredible things. I also love Japanese culture. You know, I've studied Zen. I love manga. I love anime. I have an affinity for the Japanese culture. Like, I really do. I think it's fucking dope. I actually would like to die on the island or one of the islands of Japan. If I have to die. You know what I mean? If that's like still a thing. Maybe AI will make us all immortal, right? Then I'd probably have to say Three Body Problem. And Three Body Problem is unique and it's satisfying to me because I really love trippy, cerebral, weird shit. And then Invincible kind of fell off, so Invincible's the last one. Yeah. Just finished reading the Three Body Problem, and it was pretty good. I heard the next one is going to go nuts. I'm sure the next one. Wait a minute. Toby Boyd says, I've never had chicken parmesan. What? What? Bro, are you kidding me? You gotta get a good, and you gotta get a really good chicken parmesan. Not like some cheap, you know, no offense, but some cheap parmesan. I'm telling you, go to Maggiano's, go to a really, really nice Italian restaurant and get some really good chicken parm. Get the chicken hammered out, flattened out. You get some really nice breading on there, like a flash fry, kind of a crisp. You gotta have like an incredible gravy or marinara. Like, get yourself an. Now you're making me want a chicken parm, bro. Holy shit. You're making me want a chicken parm. Tacos? Yeah, of course. Tacos are great. Rossi says, number one, General Tso chicken. 2 chicken parm, 3 tacos. Well, there you go. Man, why do we have to talk? Why do we have to make it about food? I'm pretty sure that's on you guys, because now I'm starving. Damn. My opinion, Invincible is the best comic book movie show of the year. Dude, that's a fair opinion to have. I wouldn't tell you you're silly for that. Do you want to expand on why? Dirty says, did you ever see Godzilla -1? Cheers to the 38 months, Papa. Take my money. Dude, that's crazy. 38 months, bro. We got to get on some games. Yo, I'm thinking about... Guys, let's talk about this. And we're getting started slow. I don't know if you noticed. We're getting started a little bit more slowly this morning. And I hope you don't mind. Buckle in. We're going to be here for a while. I think tomorrow we should do a Twitch gaming stream. I know I keep putting that off, but I think we need to. Yeah. So I think we need to tomorrow. Maybe we warm up a little bit of the Fortnite muscles. See if we can get some dubs over on Fortnite. I also want to play a little Helldivers, maybe. Yeah. So we'll chill. And we'll just do it on Twitch tomorrow. And that's also so that I can talk to the Twitch people and understand what I have to do to make our Twitch pop off. You know what I mean? So I want to do that tomorrow. Dirty, hit me up. Because we used to game together. You know what I mean? And then I've never seen Godzilla -1, but it comes out on digital soon, right? Like it's going to come out on Amazon on the 3rd, right? Right before May the 4th. So that'll be dope. I like me some Godzilla, man. I really liked the Godzilla and Kong game. Oh my God, look at this ant. It's that summertime, man. These ants are coming in. They probably want that spilled Coke that you guys spilled all over the floor. PJ says, Magnus the Red versus Emperor Palpatine. Who you got? Winner has to 1v1 Vulcan. Who wins this three-way? Pause. I'd say Vulcan wins, dude. Vulcan's incredibly strong. I'm excited. I'm excited to get more, hopefully, more Vulcan. I hope that's not all we get of Vulcan, right? I saw some people saying maybe they're going to go real hard with it and get Vulcan on that throne, which would be cool. Magnus the Red versus Emperor Palpatine. You're talking Warhammer right now? I would say Palpatine. I think you need to go a little bit higher up. Like Magnus, of course, incredibly strong, incredibly powerful. Here's an ironic. I'll tell you this. You know who I think would be evenly matched with Palpatine? Malkador the Sigillite. Yeah, that's what I think. Which to me does imply that Malkador is a little bit more powerful than Magnus. And think about this. Yeah, well, you say no way, but who stood on the Golden Throne while the Emperor fought Horus? It was designed for Magnus. But who stood on the throne? Who actually did it? What 40k army do you play? I mean, I almost don't want to talk about it, but I am a Custodes player and a Dark Angels player. So, yeah, so I don't really want to talk about it. 40k female custodians, yeah. Okay, so I did a bit about the 40k custodians yesterday. No, Monday. But should we talk about it a little bit more? Look, this is a whole thing. It's a whole thing now. Throw one into the chat if you want me to talk more about the female custodians. Seconds from Disaster says, do you have any plans to do a Unity read-along after the whole book is out? Even if it's in multiple sessions, maybe a chapter session could be fun. I don't know about that, but Rob is down to do some videos on Unity. So maybe when the first volume is done, we get Rob to do a big video that kind of explains some stuff. Taylor White says, Josh, you ever mess with Wegmans sandwiches? Erie, it was always my last spot to get it in between Canada and Tennessee. Yeah, they have great stuff over there for sure. Did we get into any news yet? Nah, man, we're about to talk about Warhammer here. Okay, so I see at least one in the chat. That's good enough for me. Look at this. Here we go. I made a post in the actual Adeptus Custodes thing. It summarizes my thoughts, and also everybody's losing their minds over this. And I'm not going to tell you to go find this post and upvote me and downvote everybody that disagrees with me. I'm not going to do that because that would be super petty. Okay, let's talk about this. Let me get this pulled up. Okay, let me explain. Because I talked to a lot of my buddies about this too, and it's pretty interesting. Okay? And against terms of service? Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that. That's why I would never do it. So I made this post. I thought it was actually pretty fair and to the point. Okay? I ain't downvoting myself, you crazy. Downvote yourself. Okay. Femstodes are lazy and you should let people be mad. By the way, does that sound like a Josh post? It kind of. I mean, that's par for the course, right? Josh is, and I'm speaking in the third person now. Josh is the type of person that doesn't get as mad as many others do about things. Josh gets mad at the people that are getting mad. It's kind of my thing. Femstodes could have been cool. They could have been done. They could have done a whole novel about it with a sick ass lone wolf and cub kind of story that made us follow the first ever female custodian. There could have been an explanation in the lore as to why the 10,000 needed to do this. Maybe dwindling numbers. Maybe something femstodes can do that males can't. GW could have earned this, but they didn't. This is a lazy, shoved in, not thought through change to the canon, and it's ironically happening as Custodes are getting weaker in the game. Low-key sexist on GW's part. I've seen a lot of posts about people getting upset about folks being upset about this, and that is dumb. Like, just let people be mad, and if you can't handle it, maybe just stay off Reddit for a bit. Because the Custodes Reddit, which, by the way, I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. I think Reddit is full of the stinkiest people. The stinkiest people. Like, the most... There's all kinds of people that are chronically online. And the Reddit people, probably the worst. Probably the worst. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, they're literally a whole army of, well, actually, and like pushes glasses up. Like that is essentially what Reddit is. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. The toxic positivity isn't helping at all and just making folks more angry. I think there's a difference between understanding how it could work in the lore and seeing how a corporation has made a big, unwanted change and is now trying to gaslight their audience. Personally, I don't really care about female custodians. I think it makes more sense than female space marines, but I do care how GW is handling this. They are wading into culture war too, which I do find to be mostly bad faith, low-hanging fruit fighting by chronically online people, but GW has subjected us all to more of that nonsense because of their choice. Let people be mad. And there's a lot of people that disagree with me, obviously. So I won't spend too much time on this, but the TLDR is that everybody here is wrong. And being super pedantic and wrong. And not to take it to this crazy other place like right away, but have you guys seen how like Rob argues with people on Twitter? Much love to Rob, of course. You know what I mean? I got a lot of love for Rob. But I don't always know like what are we doing here? Like, what are we, you know what I mean? This is my version of that. Because I feel like I will, after the stream, get on here and start to argue with everybody in here again. Because as much as I make fun of these people for being the stinkiest, most chronically online people, I guess I'm a little bit the same. So I'll be on there. And here's the thing. Like, this is honestly how I feel. The idea of female custodies itself is not that groundbreaking. It shouldn't be that offensive. It actually technically makes sense within the lore. But this is another situation of a corporation doing something really stupid, not thinking the shit through, and then being like, oh, everybody's so mad. Well, guess what? It's always been like this. And like trying to gaslight fans into thinking it's always been like this. It's just not true. And I wish people, instead of getting caught up in the culture war fighting rigmarole thing, I wish people could just be like, yeah, no, this is probably just another situation where a company's doing company things, being really stupid, being really fucking lazy, and then trying to use virtue to cover up the fact that they are letting us down. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it, man. It's like, I don't really mind, but I think it's so crazy how some people will dick ride a corporation or try to, they just think the people that view this unlike them are, like, wrong think. Do you know what I mean? And there's so much, like, nuance that gets lost. Where you should just be like, yeah, this is just them being stupid. Like, this is stupid. You know, in my opinion. So that's the whole thing on the Custodes. I guess we could move along since everybody loves Warhammer. Unless you want me to keep going. If you want me to keep going on Warhammer, just throw a 1 into the chat. I will keep going. If you guys want to. Only if you guys want to. We can continue to talk about Warhammer. We can watch some videos. We can react to some videos. We can watch all the videos. There's a half-hour video I'm thinking of right now if you guys want to do it. And all I need to see is 1. Numero uno. Hey, I see one. I see a couple ones. Let's keep going. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. Relax. Hey, freaking relax, all you freaking guys. BP Kin Raid with the 20 spot. It's very generous, brother. Says, been meaning to ask Josh, do you think DF will link Anakin absence in the sequels to what's going on with Ahsoka and the other galaxies? My main issue with the sequels was the absence of the Chosen One. I feel like I could forgive if they fix that. I think that you're probably onto something. I think that's a cool question too. I personally believe that Dave is going to try to explain things, connect things, make things make sense like that. So yeah, I think that's probably part of it. And I hope that he does, and I hope that he uses a lot of Anakin, and we have like an adventure with Anakin that makes his absence make a little bit more sense. Hell yeah, that would be awesome. Hell yeah, that would be awesome. Ban those people? What? Nah, man. But yeah, it's another one of those examples, man. Like I really think, and the other thing too is like GW just is fucking up. Like, it's just undeniable. Like, you have to, if even a very fair objective person could say, well, their price increases, lack of stock, like to buy, the release schedule, the mismanagement of things, the weirdness in the rules, like they're fucking up left and right. And then all of a sudden something like this happens, and you've got a bunch of people that want to walk lockstep with a corporation because they think the corporation's on the right side of history. Like, what are we doing here, dude? Like, it just feels so weird, man. I personally, I really dislike how that goes. I've seen it 1,000 times in Star Wars. And it's just, it's lack of nuance. It's lack of critical thinking. But who can blame motherfuckers? The internet is Thunderdome. The internet is Thunderdome. So I can't even blame people. Like, you're all just playing the rules of the game. You know what I mean? No. It seems everything Josh covers inevitably turns into Josh being right and audience here eats it up. Y'all are sycophants, not going to lie. My brother in Christ, you must be new here. That is a perfectly reasonable criticism to levy on many content creators and many communities. My community gives me shit all the time. My community disagrees with me hard all the time. So you must be new here. And that's okay. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to the Den of Nerds. We do it a little differently around here. Leonardo DiCaprio has been cast as Frank Sinatra in a biopic directed by Martin Scorsese. That sounds kind of cool. That sounds kind of chill. Yeah. Some of you are literally only here to disagree with me, which is also great. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if there's anything else. Like, I could start getting into my points and shit, and we can start rocking and rolling on this, but I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about. But I can't quite remember. Was there something else? What else is going on? Can we watch this Warhammer short? It's for the haters. I feel like we probably need to get off Warhammer. Look, I love Warhammer. I mean, I used to until like 3 days ago. But it's obvious that not everybody does. BP Kinraid with a 5 spot. Okay, I can talk about this though. This man paid money to hear me talk more Warhammer. So all of you guys are like, stop. Oh, you know what? I'm just doing my job. On the GW topic, just started the Heresy this week and finished first 2 books. Can't recommend them enough for any nerd. Hell yeah. Yeah, Warhammer is great. Warhammer is great. And one of the things that makes Warhammer great is the lore, which is usually treated with a lot of care. You know, so hell yeah. We all know Josh is incompetent. Just look at the Daredevil situation. God damn it. You know what? I wish I could disagree with you. I wish I could be like, no. But like, yeah. Ryan said to me, that is the most Josh thing you've ever done. And it might be true. That might be true. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Next one who pays for Warhammer gets soggy fries. Yeah. Okay, you want to talk? You want to get into some stuff, guys? You want to get into some shit? Do y'all want to get into some shit? Let's start with some news, then we'll get into X-Men 97. Does that sound fair? Can we start news? Start with some news, and then we'll get into the X-Men 97? Does that sound okay? Let me ask you guys a question. Y'all know about Thanos? You ever heard of Thanos? You guys remember Thanos? Nice shirt, by the way. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a Doctor Doom shirt. The greatest hero Marvel ever created. You did not mishear that. I said what I said. Who? Okay. Okay, so Thanos probably coming back. A lot of buzz around this. Even more buzz when yesterday, Insider and Scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, said Thanos is returning. And this lines up with a ton of other stuff. Josh Brolin recently talking about Thanos coming back. Other hints from other Scoopers and Insiders about Thanos coming back. And I think, to me, the question I've had and the sort of train of thought that I'm on has to do with a report from Daniel RPK, which came out, I think, within the past couple of months. And Daniel said Kang is still going to be the villain in Avengers 5 and 6, but Marvel wants to add another one. Another one. That, to me, kind of lines up with other reports from people like the Cosmic Circus that were talking about how one of the plans that Marvel is considering is not so much using the Council of Kangs anymore, and instead using villains from throughout the multiverse, other villains, to fill the void of the Council of Kangs. And I continue to believe, although we don't know for sure, and I think that, if anything, the past couple of weeks have taught me that we need to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, right? Because, I mean, Shine has like a 74% record on Scoops. Do you know what I mean? And Alex Perez, who I think has incredible sources, I think he sometimes makes connections that aren't there and reports things prematurely, because Alex is a guy that was telling us maybe you're going to get Phoenix versus Scarlet Witch in Deadpool 3. Maybe you're going to get 838 versus 616 in Deadpool 3. And now Alex is telling us all to curb our expectations, which is hilariously ironic. My point is, we got to treat this just as a rumor. This is probably something that's being spread around behind the scenes at Marvel, but how much of it is actually true? Has there been a decision made? We don't know. Okay? But this is another, let's just add it to like the list of reports and the list of things that have come out that suggest that Thanos is returning. My question is he the second villain? Is Thanos going to be in the next couple of Avengers movies? And let me know your thoughts on that just immediately in the chat. But I want to talk about why I think this would be brilliant. I think this is the way to do it because I think Thanos being in the next two Avengers movies solves several problems that those movies potentially have. Okay? Number one, it solves the name recognition problem. Okay? When I would say maybe before Infinity War and certainly before Endgame, if you were to ask any normie, any uncle, any grandma who Thanos was, I don't know many of them that would be able to answer that. Okay? But now, after Infinity War, after Endgame, I would venture to say a surprising amount of normies would be able to answer to you who Thanos is. I mean, we talk about this a lot. They made Thanos the new Darth Vader. Like, he has significance within pop culture. I mean, people right now are calling Drake Thanos within this rap beef. And, I mean, we all get it. Because Thanos has broken through that consciousness, that collective pop culture consciousness, right? So you go ask all of these normies, these uncles, these grandmas, do you know anything about Kang? I'm telling you, man, 100% they're going to be like, who? Who the fuck is Kang? Like, real talk, bro. And Quantum Mania, super underperformed. I bet people didn't really watch that movie like that. He's not even known as Kang in the Loki shit. Like, nobody knows Kang, bro. So you tell people, I mean, given where Marvel is currently at right now, right? They need a lot of normies, and they need a lot of, like, uncles, grandmas, grandpas. They need the mass appeal audience that all came to watch Infinity War and Endgame. They need all of those people to go into the movie theaters and watch the next couple of Avenger movies. You're not going to be able to get those people to be like, oh, Kang? That sounds incredible. Unbelievable. Let's go see that Kang person. Nobody knows who Kang is, man. So Thanos solves the name recognition problem from the normie perspective. On top of that, he solves the name recognition problem within the universe. You tell the Avengers as they exist right now, hey, Kang's coming. How many of them know what you are talking about? It would be Ant-Man. And isn't that it? Like, who else within even the Avengers would know who Kang is? And why would they be afraid? Like, why? Why would they be afraid? Thor? How? How does Thor know who he is? How? Thor doesn't know who he is. So the opposite of that happens when you introduce Thanos. How would people on Earth, within the universe of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, how would the people on Earth, including the heroes and some of the villains, how would they react to Thanos is back? Like, real talk. How would they react to that? Especially if it's a version of Thanos that has won and in his universe has beat the Avengers. Yeah, they would freak out. That's what would happen. If you mention Thanos, you're going to have people having existential crises. You're going to have heroes like maybe Thor himself. What do you think Thor would think if Thanos was back? What do you think Hulk would think if Thanos was back? What do you think Vision would think? That's not to mention all the OGs. If they somehow bring back Tony Stark, if they somehow bring back RDJ Tony Stark, and it's the same character from before, maybe it's a variant taken out of the time stream before he killed himself, what would Tony Stark think when Thanos came back? So there's like actual oomph there from a story perspective. It would mean something. It would cause people emotional conflict as well as literal conflict. And that includes your OGs. We could get our Hulk rematch, finally. We could get some kind of an extension on the conversation between Thanos and Stark. Remember, Thanos knew who Stark was before he ever met him. We don't fully have that explained. But maybe we could if Thanos returned. The other thing that I think this would be really useful if they brought Thanos back has to do with variants. Because I still think variants are somewhat of a hard sell overall. Deadpool's going to do some heavy lifting in regards to that. I think Loki's obviously done a good job. Spider-Man kind of did its own thing and really relied on the nostalgia of the, previously established franchises. But if you bring Thanos back, okay, and just imagine this scene, because we had scenes like this in Infinity War, right? Where literally they're trying to explain it. Like Tony Stark's like, tell me his name again. And they're like explaining the shit, right? You have Gamora explaining. You have Nebula explaining. There's a lot of like explaining what Thanos is about. Can you imagine, because I think it would be King Thanos, can you imagine a scene where the Avengers are gathered and maybe it's Bruce, maybe it's Thor, maybe it's RDJ Iron Man, and they're like, this isn't just Thanos. This is Thanos from a universe where he beat us and then he beat everybody. This is like Super Thanos. That would be interesting. You still get to attribute all of the horror, the emotional conflict that character caused so many people. Literally, half the world's just gone. And yet it's amplified. It's like, this isn't our Thanos. This one's way worse. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're at a place where bringing Thanos back, especially if it is King Thanos, solves a lot of the problems that the multiverse saga, really phase 4 into phase 5, have created. Because you got to remember, guys, according to the reports out there, they were thinking about moving away from Kang before the Majors thing. We're talking Quantum Mania comes out. And they're all the Marvel offices going like, oh shit, like, did we fuck this up? Like, I don't know, man. Like, what do we, you know what I mean? And it feels like there are just, from conception, some problems with what they try to do with the multiverse. Like, I don't know how we're supposed to fear this guy Kang, given the way they've established him, given the rules. Like, I just don't see it. You know what I mean? So to me, I think this is the move. I think it's the obvious move to the point where, like, I would be confused if they went another way. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Like, considering everything that's going on, everything that plagues Marvel currently, I would be, like, hella confused if they went another way. And sure, you'll get some people that are like, oh, going back to fucking Thanos and all that shit. Bro, it doesn't matter. It still solves the problem. And I tell you, for sure, a lot of normies that aren't chronically online, like most of us in here right now, would literally hear, oh, Thanos is coming back for the next two Avengers movies, and they would get excited. They would want to see that. I promise you. I promise you that's true. So there's buzz. There's smoke. I think there's fire. I think Thanos is the second villain in Avengers 5 and 6. And I really believe that's a good move from Marvel's perspective. And I think we'll probably get more info on that within the next couple of weeks and months. Because I also feel like a lot of the scoopers already know it, including Daniel. And I bet Daniel doesn't want to say it because as soon as that happens, we're going to understand it's fuck Kang. My opinion. But I think they all know it already. And I think it's Thanos. King Thanos. He's back. Okay, so now why do you all disagree? Remember when that one douchebag came in here and was like, you're all sycophants and you all just listen to Josh? Well, here you go, dumbass. Watch all these people now not agree with me. This is how it happens. Let me know. What do you think? Unless you guys want to be sycophants. I'm down. If you guys just want to blindly follow Josh and be sycophants, we can do that shit. I'm down. So, you wanna? Is that what we're doing? I've kind of put you in a box now, depending on how you want this to go. You know what I mean? It makes the most sense. Hell yeah! Josh is always right. Get used to it. Hell yeah! Can't keep living off the past. Yeah, that's fair. I understand that attitude. I do. Or here's something crazy. Finish Kang's story. Oh my god. You sound like the Cody fans. The Cody crybabies. But Kang didn't get to finish his story. We need to finish Kang's story. Nah. Have to give Thanos there, but set up Doom and keep Kang. Give Kang an Avengers movie. Okay, we're just handing out Avengers movies to any scrub-ass villains that Kevin Feige writes down on a piece of paper. I don't know about that. So Thanos' second villain behind Doom. I don't know what they're doing with Doom, man. I think Doom could be in the mix, too. Maybe they're cooking with multiple villains, to be honest with you, you know? I am saying this because Kang's story needs an ending. Then we can do Doctor Doom. Look, man, I know. I'm playing with you a little bit here. You know what I mean? I hope you're not taking it personally. But you do sound like a Cody fan. Wait a minute. Let Arcade get his shine. Arcade? No? Now we got to give Arcade shine? I mean, fuck. If we're giving Kang a whole goddamn multiversal saga, I guess we could. It's called The Beyonder. And that's the other thing, too. You go tell normies. Like, for real. Think about this, guy. You're not thinking. Some of you guys. Some of you. Everyone that doesn't agree with me. You're not thinking. So you're going to go tell your uncle, hey, we got to go see the new Avengers movie. Oh, yeah? Who's the villain? Oh, it's The Beyonder. The Beyond what? The Beyonder. You see, he's actually like, man, shut up, man. Oh, and Thanos is coming back. Hell, sign me up. We'll go right now. Why didn't you just say that, nephew? See, I'm giving you guys the explanation. I'm breaking it down like a fucking fraction right now. Where's the sycophant guy? Come back. Josh, looking like he's on that 100% legal tobacco. Do I look a little rough? Do we need to put some clear eyes in? You let me know. The villain is going to be multiple villains. It's Secret Wars. That's what I've said. I actually think that could be true, and I think that would be really fun. I'd be down. Rossi says, replace Kang with the Green Goblin. He's S tier, and everybody knows who he is by your logic. Did I just get my own argument turned against me? Did I just get my own logic turned against me to debunk one of my previously stated points? Let's go. Goblin. S tier. Bring them in to Secret Wars. Goblin for Secret Wars. Can you imagine Green Goblin with all the Infinity Stones? Like a boss. First thing Goblin does with the Reality Stone, he's like, let's fix this. And then all of a sudden he's got the waves again. He's got the fucking waves, dude. Like, that's how you know we'd be back. Marvel fans sitting in the theater, he's like, hell, hold up. And then his hair just, and it becomes the fucking waves. I mean, you're talking about a standing ovation. Just, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Green Goblin. Fuck yeah. Kyle says, this seems like the Star Wars 9 pitch meeting. Who will replace, notice, Palpatine, of course. Where do they go after Thanos 2.0? Thanos 3.0. Shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Rossi says, to be honest, I can't imagine the Goblin with the Infinity Stones. Yeah, that's true. No, where do you go after this? You go to Doctor Doom. Or the Maker. There's all sorts of things you can do, man. All sorts of stuff you can do. Yeah. Goblin is S tier, but he's still beneath Thanos. Yeah. Hey, there you go. We found our way to some form of agreement here. Wait, how do we set up the Maker? I think Secret Wars is the way to do that, actually. I think in Secret Wars, you got to have the Maker. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. No, I really think it's going to happen. And I think it would be awesome. So after this Thanos 2.0, who would the next villain have the same recognition problem again? Well, I don't think so. I mean, it kind of depends, right? Here's the thing. If it is true that we're getting multiple villains, then maybe you've got a Magneto, a Doctor Doom, a Thanos, and an Ultron. Maybe you got a bunch of them. Maybe that's how they set up Doctor Doom for the next one. I would also argue Doctor Doom has way more name recognition than Kang. Kind of depends on what they do in Fantastic Four, Secret Wars, etc. But I'm telling you, like I really think it's happening. I mean, what do you got? So if you don't believe it, then you got to think all this stuff is just coincidence, right? Right? Like, you think Brolin saying it, you think other people hinting at it, you think Shine saying it yesterday, you think it's all just coincidence? Mandalore says, quick question, Thanos again? Wouldn't that be overkill? If nothing else, then definitely a cash grab for the studio for sure. Yeah, but why? So let me break this down for you. Why do you consider it to be a cash grab? Why is it a cash grab? Right? Why? Think about it. Why? Because it would make them money? Why would it make them money? Hello? Can't you follow it through? I guess it's just... I guess I'd just be interested in something new and innovative. Like Kang. Another villain for audiences to care about. My problem is all superhero movies continue to recycle the same villains for name recognition thing. You're right, but it's low-hanging fruit, my guy. Sure. Look, I think you're just saying what I'm saying, but with a negative slant. And that's okay. And you don't have to like it. But I think it's happening, and I think the very reason you're mad about it is actually a part of the reason why it's going to happen. Because you're going to go see the movie multiple times. And then you're going to get in the chat with me the next day, and you're going to complain. And that's just called fandom. That's called banter. That's what we do, baby. So they got you. To be honest with you, they got us no matter what. Honestly, even if it's just Kang, even if it's literally Eddie Murphy replaces Jonathan Major and he's all the Kangs and all the Avengers, they still got me for at least one. I gotta see. Right? The question is, how do they get the uncles, the grandmas, the normies? That's the real question. And I'm telling you, this is one way to do that. You see what I'm saying? Thanos or not, can they write a good script? That's another very important question. They certainly have had a lot of time, but they've also had a lot to deal with. I don't know how it all fits together right now. I think Marvel's trying to figure that shit out too. But, I mean, part of this is I'm just reporting what's out there. Okay? But obviously I have my bias because I think Kang is stupid as fuck. So I have my bias. If I had my wish, it would be Doom. Like, if I had my wish, it would be Doom. Cue all the people in chat that think, you need 17 years of hour-long episode stories each year to properly introduce Doctor Doom. How fucking dare you introduce Doctor Doom without 13 plus years of fucking explanation and build-up? But I'd be down with Doctor Doom. You know? Jay Morris says, trying to catch up on past streams. Went out of town for March Madness and still haven't got caught up. But I'll get there. Let's go. Thanks for the support, man. I appreciate it. Nurse Doom. Yo, that randomly makes me think of the Animaniacs. Did you guys ever watch the Animaniacs back in the day? Hello, nurse. Woo! It's good shit. They just need to do the multiversal Masters of Evil, which is Doom, Red Skull, Green Goblin, Killmonger, Thanos, and Phoenix. That would be sick, dude. I actually liked that. I liked that setup. I liked that whole thing. I'd be down. Did I see your question? I did not, sir. I did not. Throw it in again. I'll try to catch it. Kang's story could technically close with Loki. Bring Thanos back, a variant from more intense universe, discovers this, visits MCU, gets the quantum tech, and finds the Beyond verse. Kang's story could technically close with Loki. Yeah, no, that would be like... that seems kind of interesting, what you're describing. It's just, the problem is they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They did not do that. What about Mr. Sinister as the villain for Secret Wars? I mean, that you're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting to get me to think that Sinister could do that. But I like Sinister. I mean, dude, I go crazy with it. Like, I'm down to be surprised. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about X-Men 97 right now. You know, they're playing with a lot of different stories, and they're kind of killing it. You know, you don't really know. Chase Floyd, 36 months. Thanks, man. Says, my man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you guys. In fact, let me just mention something here real quick, okay? On Friday's stream, we're going to be giving away this $200 GameStop gift card. We do one of these each and every month. It is for the members. You guys support the channel by becoming a member, and we try to give back each month and do one of these, okay? So if you're a member here on YouTube, you're automatically entered to win this. We'll draw for it on Friday. But if you are a member on Twitch, you also are entered in to win this, and you can become a member on Twitch for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you go to the Den of Nerds on Twitch. You got to use underscores. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. But you got to use underscores. You find it. You can become a member for free if you have Amazon Prime. Also, if you're a member here, you can become a member on Amazon or Twitch for free, and you get 2 entries. 2 entries to win the $200 GameStop gift card. So do that. We'll do it on Friday. Matt Spiro says, X-Men! Oh, hell yeah. Rozzy gifted 1 membership. Appreciate you. Looks like Prince Zodiac got it. Nice. Very cool. Damn, I'll try again. Does going back to Thanos evoke the Vader Skywalker issue? That's the last time I'm trying. Yeah. I think what you're asking me is, like, are there potential problems with bringing Thanos back? Yeah, for sure. Like, again, I do think a lot of people will say, man, going back to Thanos, like, totally. Like, I think that'll be a thing. You'll have pushback on it, but you have pushback on everything that you do. I'm just saying, to me, the benefits outweigh the cost. I think it fixes a lot of their problems, mostly like the name recognition, like how do we create oomph? Like, has anybody realized that with a character like Kang, given how they have developed him, the Avengers, when told that Kang is coming, will have no fucking reference, have no idea why they should care about this at all. You could still make that work, but I think given the state of where things are at, where most of the characters are at, why not go for the oomph? Why not go for the big, dramatic, crazy thing? People are going to lose their fucking minds if Thanos shows up, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if Thanos rolls back up to Earth, the characters are going to lose their minds. And I think that's awesome. Yo, why is our multi-chat just on Twitch right now? Why does it do this? Hang on. Let me try to fix this. Let's do this. Let me do that. And then we do that. Yeah. Read what I said about family. Okay. Well, where'd you say it, though? Like up a ways? Read what I said about fam. I don't want no gift card. Okay, no problem. We'll scratch your name off of it. Goddamn, dog. Have a pause on Kang right now, but tell his story through reincarnation. Yeah, I mean, sure. If that's what you want. You look thirsty, Josh. Good thing there's plenty of Coke behind you. Might taste like defeat, though. Hey, thanks. Thanks for that one. Appreciate you. Appreciate you on that one. Thanks a lot on that one. The Beyonder? What the hell are you talking about, nephew? Beyond what? Josh, are you still spreading democracy over on Helldivers? Hell yeah, man. I was playing a little Helldivers last night. I finally got the crazy new gun that everybody's talking about. The, like, kind of sniper single shot one that's high damage, high armor penetrating. Whew. Been fighting against the walkers and whatnot. Hell yeah. At least Josh has refreshments covered for the next Nerdventures meetup. Yeah. Like I said, I think I'm going to donate a lot of that to the local firefighters. Did you really spend $500 on Coke? I'd rather not talk about it. How does Marvel not follow Star Wars in recycling villains over and over again? How does Marvel not follow Star Wars in recycling villains over? Man. Question, why not use Onslaught as the main villain? I think Onslaught would be awesome. Maybe Onslaught will be a part of this. Onslaught's cool. Onslaught's real cool. All right, you guys ready for the next hot take? This one's so goddamn hot. You're going to have to freaking put some icy hot on your butt. No diddy. Okay. Okay. X-Men 97 is so damn good. It made me realize how bad things are with Star Wars right now. And look, I can tell us that we're going to get some moans and groans on that one. But I've got a couple of hot takes, man. I've been thinking a lot about this because X-Men 97 is going crazy. Like, can we stop for just a second and admit that X-Men 97 is exceeding all of our expectations? I don't think there's a single person that thought it would be this good, that thought it would be this successful. And maybe that's a little bit because of the state Marvel's in, right? Shit's been whack. We're a little trepidatious. I kept thinking to myself, bro, if they screw this up, I don't know how I'm going to have to get really toxic if they screw this up because of what it means to me, you know? And for a fan base that tends to get really toxic about things, and I think nerds in general, like, I think passion and I think passion and toxicity are pretty close together. If you really care, you care, and you're going to care when things don't feel right, when things feel counter to the things that you believe represents the stuff you love, right? So we tend to get really fucking toxic about certain things. I don't know that we get as cheery and positive when things are really good. So I just start there because X-Men 97 is so good. You should probably be talking about it more and letting the team know, letting Marvel know how much you love it, because we damn sure let them know when they're not doing that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I've been thinking about this show in comparison to Bad Batch. I love this season of Bad Batch. There was a moment, I want to say it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly, but I told you guys I thought Bad Batch was maybe the best Star Wars show we've had in years. I legitimately think that. I started planning a video. This was before I quit doing YouTube videos and like trying to come up with all these points and like edit videos and you know what I mean? All that. But I was thinking about making a big video about that, about how I thought Bad Batch was literally better than almost every single Star Wars show we've had in the past 2 to 3 years. I think that it's made with an attention to detail. I think it proves certain things about the slow burn of character development. I mean, I think it's handling things like, how do you do music that feels like John Williams, but it's modernized? I mean, it's like top to bottom, I think, an incredible show. Incredible. However, I didn't watch Bad Batch last week. I frankly don't have a lot of desire to watch it this week. And I started to try to like think through that, right? I was like, well, why? Like, that's so weird. I admit that it's great, but I'm not feeling any sort of rush or desire to watch the show. It made me realize when it comes to this nerdy shit, quality matters, but quality doesn't drive us to go check this stuff out. A lot of you guys think that Andor is like the greatest thing to ever happen to Star Wars. Like a lot of you do. And so kind of like what that means to me is that those of you that watched Andor for the most part just were really blown away at the quality of the show. Now, this is something that I've always been able to admit about that show. You know, the writing, the acting, the cinematography, it's all on point. It's a very competently made show. And I think it makes certain other shows, like you look at Kenobi, how the fucking aspect ratio of the ships are literally changing in some shots. There's just so much goobly glob bullshit in a lot of the Star Wars shows. This includes Ahsoka. Ahsoka, which I love. Episode 7, Episode 8, like, there's a lot of stuff going on there that are like, you can feel the limitations of either the production, the direction, whatever. It's not working. But again, nobody watched Andor. I'm not trying to be rude. That's recorded in, like, the stones of history. It underperformed so badly that they were trying to put it out on Hulu, ABC. They were it like nobody watched it. Nobody. And it just performed so poorly. Like, that's undeniable. If you don't think that, it's cope. It's copium. That is what happened. My point is, if it was just about quality, Andor would have performed well. If it was just about quality, maybe I would be watching all of these episodes of Bad Batch. But it's not just about quality. Not in the pop culture zeitgeist, not when it comes to nerdy shit. There's no conversation being had about Bad Batch. Like, none. I don't have to worry about Bad Batch spoilers on the timeline. Because nobody's watching this show. So I don't feel a drive, a push, a pull. I feel no kinetic force whatsoever that makes me think I have to watch Bad Batch and I gotta watch it right now. And I just told you guys, I think it's maybe one of the best shows they've ever made with Star Wars. It's definitely one of the best in the past couple of years. I love that show. And you look at what X-Men 97 is doing, and it's exceeding the expectation. Because, like, you know, I think, again, Star Wars fans might try to make sense of this. Well, it's animated. Animated was never going to be big. Guys, look at what's happening with... You got fucking people saying X-Men 97 is better than the MCU. It's better than Endgame. Real talk. And it's not, like, it's not even just people within our circle, bro. Like, you have... who's the guy that did the crazy thing on Parks and Rec? Patton Oswalt. He is out here saying it's some of the best shit they've done in years and they need to do more of it. You know what I mean? You've got big names in different spaces coming forward with big platforms and they're expressing this shit is fire. So it can't just be that it's animated, right? Because Bad Batch is animated. So is X-Men 97. X-Men 97 is some of the most competently written, just well designed, well thought out. It's an incredible show that has also captured a conversation. When X-Men 97 comes out, people are talking about it. I had to dodge spoilers this morning as I was like getting online. People are going crazy. There's a conversation about it. And it's something that, I was watching some interviews with the Fallout people, and they were talking about how a lot of the time now we make content for the internet. That's his words, not mine. But it makes sense. Because it used to just be critics. Critics was the shit. You'd making shit for critics in some ways. Maybe not completely, but you definitely want the critics to like you. It helps the show. Well, nowadays, it's all about the conversation online because criticism has been democratized. We all have a voice. So that's part of why X-Men 97 is popping up. Marvel specifically, and comic books specifically, have always thrived in that kind of a world. Comics are always about the next thing. You read a comic and you should be feeling like, hell yeah, but also I need to read the next one. That's a thing. It's episodic in nature, and there's a conversation created around that, right? So you look at X-Men 97, how it's succeeding, and then I think about the way that I feel about Bad Batch, even though I like it. And I think the real thing that we have to keep in mind, and this is something that I think Star Wars needs to learn, but I don't know if they're going to. Technically, Marvel needs to learn this from themselves because X-Men 97 is so uniquely good compared to a lot of stuff that they've been doing. It must satisfy and create conversation. And that fan conversation is a huge part of how and why these things succeed. That is just inherent to the DNA of this stuff. I think also, and this is probably a really big deal. This is something that they really should pay attention to. And unfortunately, it's something that Dave Filoni does not do well. The X-Men 97 show is taking an old format, right? 22-minute episodes that fill a half hour worth of TV with commercials. It's taking an old formula and it has updated that formula for streaming. It is so fucking good. And it's built different. And Bad Batch is built like the Clone Wars, which at the time when Clone Wars first came out was huge. It was so big. X-Men 97 level of big. But Clone Wars, and now Bad Batch, has filler episodes. Bad Batch has weird turns, twists, and character things. Bad Batch doesn't always set something up for the next week. It's doing a formula that worked 8 to 10 years ago. And it just shows me that, once again, Star Wars is so behind. And it's not just because they can't seem to get away from nostalgia and stuff like that. X-Men 97 is showing us a brilliant way to do that. We're working off nostalgia, but we're using the characters to build something new. You've got people like Rob and myself that know all these stories, but don't quite know how it's going to fit together with the way they are telling them in 97. Using the source material, but doing it in a way that feels fresh. Star Wars is not doing that. Bad Batch, for as good as it is still produced in such a way without modern audiences in mind. And I think this is a big problem with Dave, because Dave, and I love Dave Filoni. I simp for Dave Filoni. I am a tier 3 sub on Dave Filoni's Twitch. But he is a bit of a boomer. Dave doesn't like even having spoilers in his trailers. Dave likes going off the beaten path. Dave likes, oh shit, we crash landed. Let's fix the fucking ship for this whole episode. That is Dave's style. And I think the people that are writing this show now, because it's not actually Dave anymore, but I think they're fitting it all into that formula that came before. Star Wars needs to evolve in a lot of different ways. And I think X-Men 97 kind of shows us a way to do that. A way to take what worked before and update it. Because they're fucking killing it, dude. Oh, Bad Batch isn't doing great because it's animated Star Wars. Animated Star Wars has never been a thing. Explain X-Men 97 to me. Explain how it's doing what it's doing. It's animated too. What's the difference? Oh, well, the old X-Men show, it's so nostalgic. X-Men was so great back in the day. What about Clone Wars? We're literally talking about, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? So to me, this is just showing once again why Star Wars is so behind. They are trapped in some really... It's like we can't take reference, take pre-established lore, which Star Wars has a shit ton of, regardless of what Kathleen will tell you. Incredible comics, novels, video games, RPGs. There's a lot you could take from. Take it, do it in a modern audience. Don't give me a 24-episode season that has all these filler arcs that feels weird. Don't release it in the way you're releasing it. Give me 10 sharp, well-crafted episodes. Take me on a fucking story. Like, I think X-Men 97 is eating the Bad Batch's lunch right now. And it's just like one more reason why Kathy and Dave and everybody over at Lucasfilm, like, they should learn from this and they should change the way they're doing it. If you don't change and the audience does, and then the audience is gone, it's your fault. It's not the audience's fault. Your job is to meet them where they're at. So I don't think we're doing that. And so that's the take. That's what's going on with fucking X-Men 97 and Bad Batch. I don't even know when I'll watch the next I don't know when I'll watch Bad Batch again. Maybe I'll do a whole binge next week. But that's my thoughts. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? I think the other thing with Bad Batch is that on the surface, this season can seem very similar to season 2. So I think people feel like they already know where Bad Batch season 3 is going, so they don't care to follow it. That's fair. That is fair. I think that's a good point. Again, that kind of falls to the writing, though. And I think a little bit it's like, it's just an old habit. A lot of Star Wars you could see coming a 1,000 miles away. We genuinely have no fucking clue how X-Men 97 is fitting this all together. Right? So, I mean, it's a good point, but it doesn't necessarily let them off the hook. You know what I mean? Kendall says, I'm not crazy. Aw, shit. Come on, Josh. Bad Batch is mid. It's okay to say that. It's copy pasta. I legitimately love this season of Bad Batch. But it's like, I don't know if I can necessarily disagree with you, but I think the midness is coming from the way the season is structured. Like, it's not mid because of its characters. It's not mid because of its conflict. It's not mid because of its writing in the micro. It may well be mid because of the macro writing. It may well be mid because it refuses to change into what... I mean, frankly, this is part of the reason why I didn't like Invincible Season 2 as much as I did Invincible Season 1. Season 2 of Invincible feels all over the place. Like, Season 2 of Invincible, like, it's nowhere near as sharp and as tight as what they did in Season 1. I still give the show a lot of credit. I think it's great, but it's like a 7.5 or an 8. Season 1 was a 10. You know what I mean? The characters are non-existent. Oh, I disagree. I disagree with that. I mean, I love the characters, and I love the emotion that I feel like when they get reintroduced. I love seeing Crosshair and him, like his arc and his change. I think they did something incredible with Omega. Kind of can't believe they did it. I used to hate Omega. Dude, I fucks with Omega now. Like, I fucks with Omega. No Diddy. Like, she seems awesome. I really like a lot of what is happening with that character. Even Asajj showing up shows me character development. What about Hunter and Wrecker? They're a little underdeveloped this season, but I think they're pretty well established. It's other characters that are kind of bouncing off of them, whether it's Asajj, Crosshair, even Omega or the Empire. They're kind of like if in comedy, they're kind of serving like the straight man idea. You know, sometimes you need like a wild dude. You need a straight man to make it work. You know what I mean? Rossi says, I know I give you shit, but you're killing it with your Star Wars vs. X-Men 97 take. Bad Batch pacing kills the show. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. X-Men 97 proves you can have a shorter runtime if you fill it with plenty of story. Many Disney Plus shows, both MCU and Star Wars, fail on that end. I agree 100%. Maybe one of the first times I've ever 100% agreed with something Adam said. But, yeah, that's facts, dude. That's facts. John Van Galen Duran Jr., love that name, brother. Thanks for the 39 months. My God, bro. Hey, Josh, I'm not going to lie. You've genuinely gotten me interested in Warhammer. I want to get into it, but I have no idea where to start. What would you suggest? Well, do you want to buy my Custodes army? Would you like to get into the Adeptus Custodes? Because I got a... No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to hold on to my Custodes. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. They need to fix that codex, so... I'm just playing. I am legitimately fucking upset at GW, though. And it's not Femstodes. I mean, the Femstodes is just like another cherry on top. It's like, yeah, you guys are just being stupid again. But their whole management system is stupid. Like, imagine this as a strategy. And I know I'm going to get off the fucking Warhammer shit. Just let me complain just a little bit more. Imagine this as a strategy. We're going to introduce new product, which could potentially get everybody really excited and make them want to buy the new product. Except the new product is going to actually make the army worse. It's going to make you need to buy more to even play. Like, you don't have to know anything about Warhammer to know that is a stupid way of conducting business. Why would you create new product that came with bad feels? So, like, just from a base level, somebody needs fired. That's what it is. And apparently, because I've only been in the game for like 3 years, apparently this is a thing that's happened throughout the entire history of GW. Well, forgive me for not being used to getting fucked like that. I don't like it. Anyway. So you're going to actually talk about this week's X-Men 97 or use it as a vehicle to shit on Star Wars? LMAO. I think we've done enough shitting on Star Wars. That's probably good. Do you guys want to watch Paul's video? His breakdown of X-Men 97? Should we check it out? Should we watch it together? J. Lou says, hey, Josh, I know everyone despises the new Unity collectors, but let us in. Oh, bro, you have the link. You've got to go to the Kickstarter and check your messages. You have the link to enter. If you're a collector, it's on your, you have to check your messages on Kickstarter. Mike S. Hangout says, hey, Josh, good morning. I 100% agree with you about Bad Batch versus X-Men 97. Thanks, man. I appreciate the support. And seems that you too are a man of culture. X-Men 97, Episode 6. Breakdown from friend of the channel, Paul over at Heavy Spoilers. Let's see what Paul's got to say. Maybe he can educate us.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host, Paul. In this video, I'm breaking down X-Men 97. Episode 4 and 5 had two big cliffhangers, and the first of these is something we're gonna explore now. Life Death Part 2 is cooking up a storm, and we watch as two characters forge an alliance.
Cooking up a storm. Good one, Paul.
That's against an adversary we'll touch on in just a bit, but in this video, we're gonna break it all down. This includes the Easter eggs, comic book references, and everything that you might have missed in the episode. Heavy spoilers ahead, so if you don't want it ruined, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. Smash the thumbs up button, and if you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to keep up with our breakdowns. But out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into X-Men 97.
Let's go!
True Kree bows to no one.
Now, as always, we get the intro playing out with a couple of additional shots thrown in. These often reference things from the original, and they help to show what direction the episode's going to go.
And a couple missing shots, too. A couple characters weren't in there.
For example, episode 2 had the Morlocks appearing, while 4 had the episode where Jubilee fought Mojo. Last week we had Cable before he showed up, and I wish he'd shown up to warn me that these mutants were Exodus and Frenzy, instead of letting me say it might be Azazel. Thanks a fucking bunch, Cable.
Turn it off. The music. Get everybody out.
Now we found...
It's true. Paul dropped an L on that one, baby. I thought I knew who that guy was, because I think, isn't he a part of the Akrakoa mutants? Like during like Swords of X and all that kind of shit. I'm not super familiar with the character, to be honest with you, so I didn't know either, but Paul's the one that made the video.
Finally get a title card for Nightcrawler, with his return last week cementing he's in the team. They removed Professor X for episode 2 because he wasn't, and I think Storm was taken out for episode 3. Everybody is here though, so breathe a sigh of relief, mate.
Not everybody, Paul. Gambit. Guys, go to the comment section right now on Paul's video. How dare you, Paul? They did not show Gambit in the intro, and it was heart-wrenching. You're shitting on our hearts.
All still alive. Now we have a shot of Nimrod coming out of Master Mold's body, and I want to talk about him later on in the video.
Yeah.
We will be discussing things with Bastion and Forge. However, it's an important figure that you need to pay attention to. Along with this, we get the X-Men fighting the Imperial Guard, with shots of Xavier also kissing Lilandra. This pulls from the original series, which in itself was based off the comics, and it's very important for what we're going to get into. Cutting to the Shi'ar Empire versus the Kree, we then see a...
Dude, I loved this opening shot, because like not only are we just in space, but the way these like, they're like these energy blasts that like create these gravity vortexes, like this shit was on point, dude. Like it is very badass.
Gigantic battle in space.
Like you see how they pulled the ships in? Boom.
You might notice the design for the old school Captain Marvel, and this kickstarts a scene that was released online last night. We see Ronan the Accuser, who you might recognize from the MCU. In his classic comic book costume, the guy's going toe-to-toe, and I don't mean a dance-off. He has his universal weapon, which are all granted to accusers. He's still working for the Supreme Intelligence, who's his boss in the comics, and you also might have noticed them appearing in the Marvels. Working for the Kree, he packs his hammer.
Ain't nobody noticed that in the Marvels, bruh. Because ain't nobody go see the Marvels, you know what I mean?
But he's no match for Gladiator. Member of the
Hell
Imperial
yeah,
Guard, he's part of the
Gladiator!
Strontian race, who are part of the Shi'ar Imperium. Possessing special abilities, these are pretty complicated, and they unlock for the character when he's put on a path of purpose. There's also Deathbird, who's seeking after the intelligence. Sister to Lilandra, we saw her...
Dude, okay, so let me ask you a question, chat. How many of you guys knew who Deathbird was before you watched this episode? Just be honest. It's okay. You're among friends. How many of you guys knew who Deathbird was? So, if you didn't know who Deathbird was, when you saw this, were you instantly like, yo, Deathbird's kind of dope? So this is an interesting way to introduce a character and make people, I think, like the character immediately. Right? So this is kind of a little of the flavor they could do with Doctor Doom. Right? So I'm being petty and taking it back to my point about Doctor Doom.
During the finale of the original show. She was the one who took Charles away to recover, with her being a mainstay of the comics. Deathbird is sort of an opposite to her, with her being more like an evil older sister. She was prophesied to commit great evil, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her. Now, the series has a heavy focus on the Summers family as well, and we get another one with the introduction of Vulcan. Known as the Lost Brother, he was the one born into slavery on the Shi'ar throne world. Aged up using artificial means.
Which, by the way, Vulcan is stronger than Gladiator. Like 100%. He didn't really get a lot of shine in the episode, but he is.
Could end up getting potentially some big family clashes down the line. He dated Deathbird in the comics and was a key factor in leading the Imperium into a war with the Kree. Ronin is of course a part of them, and we could be seeing some massive stakes with these characters getting involved. Pretty wild, going from everyone's dead last week to space the next, and this was a massive surprise to get in this episode.
Yeah.
My dearest sister is always of utmost priority.
Now, Lilandra in the comics has had a lot of issues with her family, with her being not only the sister of Deathbird, but also the sister of Deakin. Deakin, I think it's pronounced. Basically, Lilandra found out he was up to no good and was banished to Earth when she threatened to expose his plans. Here is where she met Xavier, which is sort of what happened in the show. Eventually, she returned into space before finally coming back to get him for the finale. Either way, she's here to bring the good news that Professor X has been revived, and not only that, but he's also getting hitched. Lilandra and him have been in relationships throughout the comics, and he's gonna be the Emperor. He's a bloody good guy, couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke, and to add a little cherry on top, the guy can even walk now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the armor here, man. I thought it was cool. Good touch.
However, the memories of Earth and his responsibilities there clearly weigh on his mind, and I was so glad to see him back, but he clearly wants to go home. Now, we did suspect earlier in the season that he'd return, and there were even little clues here and there. It was obviously the title sequence which he appeared in, and the fact he didn't really die, so it was nice to see it confirmed. Charles is a great character for them, as he stopped Deakin, that's it, and also the Phoenix Force. He's also just a bloody nice guy who views life as precious. The Shi'ar needs someone like that on the throne with a...
Do you guys agree with that? How many of you in chat think Professor X, awesome, good dude, good-hearted? Just curious, because Charles, or Chuck, as most of us that have, been in this shit call him, he's sus. Super sus. I might have to do a whole video segment on that. I could go find all the different times that Charles has been super sus in comics and shows. Would you guys be interested in that? Let me know. We can do that.
The compassionate leader being a force for good that will help improve the universe. Now, I do have a few times, with this potentially setting up binary at the end of the Marvels. I did theorize that this could be a backdoor origin story to set up the universe that Photon ended up in, and looking at the way things are going, I think that would actually work. Captain Marvel and Son, they've always been a big part of these conflicts in the comics, and it could usher in binary being Maria Rambeau. She could then return to Earth along with Charles, and this would then allow her to work with the X-Men. Charles was also mentioned by Beast in that scene, and yeah, it's a few time I'm sticking with you. Yeah, it's over, and that was over with you done. Anyway, we cut back to Earth and see the life-death storyline continuing, which is arguably one of the tales.
I loved this shit. Okay, there's a small little distraction here from or a tangent. I've been doing a lot of studying on Alan Moore, watching a lot of videos on Alan Moore, different interviews that he's given over the years. By the way, on a totally random note, have any of you actually read, I believe it's called Jerusalem? His last comic that he ever did, I think it's called Jerusalem. I could be wrong. Have any Alan Moore fans in here? Anyway, the point is, there's a lot of hermetics or the hermetic principles that are in Alan Moore's writing. And some of the stuff that happens here with the Demon and Storm and how this is resolved felt very close to something that's explained in some Alan Moore shit, too. It's kind of interesting.
Else that helped to define Storm. In the comic, she lost her abilities after they were taken by a weapon invented by Forge. Shot by Henry Gyrick in the books, they of course changed it to the Executioner in the show. Sinking into a deep depression, the story was about her learning that she was more than just her powers. In the comic, she initially refused to eat, but Forge then cared for her. Many fans have said this is the best relationship Storm's ever had, and even though Black Panther's who she ended up marrying, yeah, there's still a lot of people that think what they did with Forge was better. Personally, I'm more of a Black Panther guy myself, but let me know below in the comments if you prefer the life-death storyline. Either way, The books also had Rogue having to flee from the government, which may be something that we touch upon next week. Storm and Forge bonded over the scars they possessed, with her learning about his past in Vietnam. Discovering he'd lost his hands and legs, she saw that there was a possibility to heal and accept her losses. Whereas the show had the pair going to Forge's cabin, the comic book played things a little differently. There she had dinners with him overlooking the city, surrounded by the expensive items he'd bought with the money from his inventions. Storm was unable to fly, and thus her being back up here reminded her of the days that she could. Still though, she eventually got down to the white overalls, and her hair was also in line with the mohawk that she has in the show. Forge said he had a business call and went into the other room, and at this point Storm believed it was the X-Men who were ringing. Now you see kids, gotta explain something, right?
Yeah.
Back in the days when we had landlines, if you picked up another phone in the house, you could hear what the other people were saying on the line. Storm did this, but...
Mom, get off the phone! You know, shit like that. Or like your sister or your brother was always listening on your phone calls. Yeah, that used to be a thing.
Doing it, she heard it was Garrick, who was talking about his plans to get the X-Men. Thus, it was revealed that Forge was the one behind the gun that took her powers, and the conversation turned sour pretty quickly. Forge originally wouldn't let her leave, but like a sign from God, a lightning bolt struck the side of the apartment and gave her a way out. Lambasting him for turning against his people, she said his skyscraper was a perfect place for him to live. Surrounded by meaningless holographic items and expensive objects, he was like a king in a glass house. She declared she'd get her powers back and then would one day rub it in his fucking face. Fuck you. This then took us to Uncanny X-Men 187, which this episode is sort of loosely based upon. The entry featured the Night Wraiths, including the one on the cover who Adversary is clearly based upon. We will talk about Adversary more in just a bit, but it's a big enemy that plays into Forge's Chine roots. Now, a really cool Easter egg I like here is that we have Storm voiced by Alison Seeley-Smith. However, in order to add a connection to her Adversary, we also have Adversary voiced by her as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good touch, for sure. We noticed that while we were watching it as well.
Sort of a demonic figure in this episode who tries to taunt her to leave Forge to die. The venom bad Adversary gave him is working through his system, and when it reaches his heart, he's unfortunately going to die. Now, as for Forge, his past was hinted to us briefly during episode 4. Upon the wall, we could catch a photo of him in his time in X-Factor, which is a team the X-Men fought during the episode Cold Comfort. Multiple Man came from that team, and he showed up on Genosha to get completely rocked last episode.
True.
There were also images of Forge in his military uniform, and we could see him alongside Dr. Adler. Adler in the series was seemingly trying to develop a mutant cure, and he almost stripped Rogue of her powers. However, this was eventually revealed to be Mystique, who'd been working for Apocalypse. He was trying to use the machine to alter their powers and turn the mutants into slaves. This is how he created his Horsemen of the Apocalypse and changed Angel into Archangel. Now, alongside him, cut off from the photos, was Bastion, who was a combination of the mind of the Mastermind.
Oh, wow, they actually had Bastion in there fully. I didn't even notice that. That's interesting.
And also the mutant Nimrod. Bastion was a part of Operation Zero Tolerance, which involved Sentinels wiping out the mutants. So yeah, not a good group of people to be around, and it shows the kind of figures that Forge is rubbing shoulders with. Ryanary, bloody Ryanary, hey Theory Time, but it's copyrighted, so you owe me $250 for using Theory Time, Ryan.
Yeah.
If you did. He said that this may allude to Forge being the one who created the Sentinels, which I think would be a really big twist.
Damn,
Forge
yeah,
would
that'd
later
be
see how
crazy.
much damage this did, as he was a really important figure during Days of Future Past. Now that takes me into my Theory Time. Do you mind? Do you mind? And I'd love it if we learned that Forge created the Sentinels, and this is how he survived that long. He's not really someone with amazing powers, and I can't think of any other way he lived for so long during that devastating storyline. Perhaps he built something into them where they wouldn't go after him, and this is how he was able to operate in the future. Now, he was the one who built the time bracelet that sent Bishop back in time, but maybe
that could be
correcting this had its own personal meaning. Perhaps he was trying to right the wrong by stopping it and using time travel to correct his mistakes. Just a theory time there, mate. Might not be right yet, but I think it would add a lot into the character. Either way, the show's
That'd be
leaned
cool.
heavily in with Forge's Chine root.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Forge like really important in the Krakoan era? Because he's like one of the only people that can talk to Krakoa. And was he a part of the 5 for the resurrection protocols? Somebody in chat help me out with that.
And we learned that he was trained as a shaman by Naze. His people had long feuds with Adversary, and Forge had been trained from birth
He
to
wasn't a
combat
part of
him.
the 5?
Like he rejected the mutants, though, Forge also originally rejected his own people, and he turned down this life to go and join the army. However, it was during this that his command was wiped out, and in a desperate move, he then summoned Adversary. This demon then came into the world and has taunted Forge ever since. Now, Adversary is an ancient demonic entity that's thousands of years old. Extremely powerful, this demon comes from another universe that's main characteristics chaos. Turning into a trickster, Adversary is able to shapeshift and give its victims powerful hallucinations. Adversary doesn't care how many people it kills, and it seeks to wipe out the universe and start anew so it can remake it how it sees fit. Shine realized this and have trained the shaman over the years to be able to combat it, with there being several prominent figures that have popped up in Forge's lineage. Now, if you want to support the channel, then definitely check out our merch store right below the video. We've just launched a brand new X-Men 97 inspired t-shirt, calling back to a big moment from that first episode. We've also got our 3-time shirts, along with the Heavy Spoilers logo, and the merch is so good, mate, so good, that people are selling knockoff food.
I was going to mention this, but he mentioned it for me, you know, so there's knockoff merch. Don't tell Paul, I'm the one getting all the money on the knockoff stuff. So if you guys want to support me, just...
of it on Redbubble. I'm fucking Gucci. To be honest, though, I'd actually be happier if you bought one of them because it's free advertising. And I'm probably going to buy one myself because it looks great. Either way, huge thank you to everyone who's picked one up. We've got loads of t-shirts below if you want to pick one up yourself. Now, Storm sort of shows the life lessons that Xavier gave her, as she'll help Forge no matter what. All life is precious to her, and she even values them above her own. Adversary taunts her with this by placing her in a coffin and saying that she should be careful what she wishes for. She brings up Storm saying how she...
Such a cool design. It's so horrifying, the design of that character. This sick, like, owl-like thing. Ugh.
Told Jean she wondered what it would be like to be human, which is something she said to her in the bedroom during episode 2. Adversary uses shape-shifting powers to transform into the X-Men, with its abilities sort of being similar to Loki. Both are known as tricksters, and we see how magic can be used to defeat them. This comes in the form of Forge, who busts in casting spells.
Bro, I couldn't believe this shit. I was like, Forge is casting spells? I thought this was nuts. Super crazy.
These create circular runes, similar to what Doctor Strange wields, with them also having sparks coming out of the rings, similar to how his powers work. It's such a cool detail, and we also see him using a book akin to the one the Sorcerer Supreme had in the first Doctor Strange film. Playing there's a cacti that can cure him, Forge and Storm then head out together. Now in the book, Adversary posed as Naze, and it went to Storm to try and get her to find Forge. Forge was attempting to close a dimensional rift Adversary had opened, and he'd placed demon-destroying devices along the way. Adversary told Storm that Forge was actually trying to open it, and that she was the only one who could go up and stop him. So she headed out to him because he was at the top of a mountain, but eventually learned the truth, which is when Adversary sprung his trap. In the book, they had a Wraith take over Naze that Adversary then took over, but here they're just clearly taking out the middleman. It's at this point that Storm and Forge were transported into an alternate reality where they forged their bonds and got her powers back. Now weirdly, at the end of the arc, Adversary brought forth Madeline Pryor's resurrection, which in turn led into the Goblin Queen. That was of course shown in episode 2, with Sinister being behind it. I wonder if they're doing this entire arc as part of the show, and they might lead into something bigger down the line. With all those connections to mutant powers, Sinister, the X-Men getting killed, I really wonder if we're heading towards Apocalypse.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way, huh?
The only reason that Sinister cloned Jean in the first place was to make a baby that would help him in the war against him. I think we're heading towards a bigger villain in the shadows, with all the signs pointing towards Apocalypse. He was teased in the intro last week with Cable fighting
It just looks so badass, bro. Goddamn.
Against him. This could be hinting as to why he traveled back in time, and yeah, let me know all your thoughts below. Now, as these two lovebirds come together, we see two lovebirds in the Shi'ar Empire coming together too, shown symbolically through birds. That's symbolism, mate. The Shi'ar design is also based on owls, with them calling...
Yeah, they actually evolved from birds. That's like a Chris Claremont thing. There were all kinds of aliens that Chris could not work with because they were being used in other Marvel stories. So I'm pretty sure he creates the Shi'ar and makes it so they evolve from birds. Kind of interesting.
Children hatchlings and so on and so forth. There's lots of bird transitions throughout the episode, with the one at the beginning going from one in space to an eagle above Forge's cabin. Deathbird is, well, a bird, and we see she's arrive and berates them in Iraqi.
Yep, that's why all of their hair looks like that, because they evolved from birds.
Amongst them already, as the Shi'ar suspect Xavier wants to make Earth a new capital. Invoking the right of Madasha, I think Xavier has to choose to erase Earth and all memory of his life there if he's to be wed. It's sort of akin to the spell at the end of No Way Home, with it severing his connection. Earth and the Milky Way are seen as a ghetto, and it's clear the Shi'ar don't want to go where the YouTubers...
I loved this shit when she was talking all that shit on Earth. Now, the thing is, and maybe Paul will mention this in a moment, but one of the reasons that's so interesting is because of the setup in X-Men about the divided nature of humanity. Humans don't like mutants, mutants don't like humans, certain humans don't like other humans. It's actually subtle, but by this character and a lot of the Shi'ar shitting on humanity, it shows you that, like, oh, we're all actually the same, and other people that are different than us will consider that difference a big deal and just hate us because we are different. So it's kind of interesting. Like, there's a subtle thing going on there where as you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, they hate all of us. But by saying all of us, it's like a unity. It's like, no, that's the thing we're missing. Sometimes you have to see it through this other side to, like, understand that. So I thought that was, like, really interesting and kind of an understated point in the show.
As bad as this. However, there are ties to things like this which the Shi'ar have based their society around, which we see in the statues Charles visits next. They have the figures Shara and Karathi, who come from warring houses that married in order to bring harmony. It's akin to tales like Romeo and Juliet, with the pair being worshipped as their highest gods. Professor X talks about how the Shi'ar see art as deviancy, which could be a nod to Plato's Republic. Skimming over it briefly, but it basically said that art can be used as a way to show deviancy in characters. Did a big talk about it in our Clockwork Orange breakdown, but artists can use art to show bad things, which could corrupt the audience. This could be why the Shi'ar look down on it, but they
Speaking of friggin' Alan Moore, am I right?
Also clearly appreciate art too. Now, Xavier realizes that through his connection to Earth, he can't erase his life and that he'd like to remember all the people he knew. The Shi'ar want him to be the man he is, but they don't realize it's the memories that made him. Had he not clashed with Magneto, then he wouldn't have went in the opposite direction, and thus he needs to retain them to stay who he is. Now from here we cut back to Forge and Storm, who are dealing with their own forces trying to tear them apart. They arrive to Snow Snake Tower, which in itself stands as a monument to deceit and lies.
Yeah.
During the Civil War, the Union built a hideaway built off the land taken from the Native Americans. The colonists got the land because they tricked the natives into thinking they were there to help, which is similar to what Forge did with Storm. It's two different things there. They do break up the time and talk about how the colonists took it and then the Union repurposed it. I just want to make that clear, so and I'm not, getting bad on the history, even though my history's pretty crap. Either way, I'm sure you've all heard the stories of the colonists using blankets infected with smallpox to spread disease, and it's clear they looked at real-life history when crafting out this episode. Now in the book, they do things a bit differently, as Adversary transfers Fortune's Storm to an alternate dimension while it ends up terrorizing Earth. It's here that the pair end up falling in love, while Adversary tries to pull its dimension into ours. Well, not ours, but you know what I'm saying. It's during this that the X-Men try to stop it, but most of them were then killed in the battle. I wonder if they're adapting this entire arc for the show, as a lot of the characters got pancaked on Genosha. There's lots of things going on here in terms of what's real and what isn't, and overall, it is kind of a head fuck. Now, as the pair move through the cabins, they talk about Adversary and why Storm isn't as judgmental. She's had things happen in her past before, with her gifts causing people to hate her. She does change later on, though, and we see her soar into the sky like a bird.
Love it. I love the costume change, but it is a little bit like, wait, how'd she just, like, get the costume? Or is she still, like, in the dimension thing at that point? I'm not really sure, but I love the costume change. I thought it was cool.
Again, you've got those bird ideas, with Adversary itself also being an owl.
Ooh,
Birds are things we see fly above us, and I'm sure it's crossed your mind in your life what it would be like flying. To me, birds work as metaphors to act as opposites to what the characters are going through, with them being grounded. That's reflected.
Not to get super weird, but let's do it. Do you guys know what Freud said about dreams where you fly? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? He said it meant like a sexual liberation or like sexual freedom. It's kind of an interesting idea.
In Professor X, who rather than having the freedom to go back and forth between his home and the woman he loves, will be restricted to being on Shi'ar. Well, not on Shi'ar, but as part of the Shi'ar Empire. However, we see how similar they are to Earth, with the Shi'ar also having the prejudice that the X-Men are fighting against.
See? Exactly. How the prejudice is still there. You know what I mean?
Like Xavier, not just because he's a human, but also because he's a mutant. Gladiator ends up defending him, and it all kicks off after Deathbird arrives at the council. It just leads to more pain, and this reminded me a bit of the Senate hearing from episode 2. Magneto, of course, flexed his powers there, and Charles literally has to mind control everyone and lecture them. Storm has her own...
Bro, when Charles took everybody to school, literally, in the astral plane, that was a dope moment. Like, he needed to remind everybody, he is him. I thought it was fantastic, dude. I loved it.
Battles in her mind too, and we see her crawling in the tunnels, which is where she comes face to face with adversary. We see that Storm's powers being held back as psychosomatic, and that it's very much herself doing it. They kind of touched upon this during Spider-Man 2, and she unleashes a grandmother of a storm. Such an incredible moment that takes the character to the next level, and in this she gets a black costume from the comics. This is one of my favourite looks for the character, and it sort of takes us into a sort of Man of Steel first flight moment where she rides alongside horses and traverses the land with ease.
For some reason, I thought
she
was
also
going to kill
looked at
those
herself
horses
in the water while Clark looked at his shadow on the ground. Not to be like Snyder is the blueprint, mate, but...
Snyder is the blueprint, Paul. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it.
But in the end, though, that was one of the best flight sequences I've ever seen, so I can totally see why they take inspiration from it. Although they want to get away, we see the same news that the X-Men watched last week, with Professor X, who basically get the connection to the colonization comments before, with the Shi'ar in their lives being similar to what we used to sway the Native Americans. Really,
I love this, dude. He literally took them to school. Oh, it was so good. So good, dude.
Expect to see these two stories connect like this, and it's Professor X giving a lecture about history. However, it's interrupted by disturbance in the Force and the Professor being visited by the Spectres of Death. Seeing them destroyed, I love how Gambit becomes like the Wild Sentinel,
yeah, it was
realizing
sick,
that he needs to leave and return to his
visuals here were so good.
Men, we then
and with the astral plane, like, you can do all kinds of things. So I'm reminded of Noah Hawley and some of the ways that he used the astral plane, and of course in animation, like, just there's no limits. And somebody thought of that. Okay, then everybody's a skeleton, then Gambit's a skeleton, then he becomes the Sentinel and he turns him into a skeleton. Like, come on, man. That's good shit.
Cross to a tease for next week. Yeah, we can catch Bolivar Trask, and it hints towards a War of the Worlds, which we can see the cinemas showing. H.G. Wells' name can be seen above the title, and he of course wrote The Time Machine, so we could be seeing some timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly stuff happening next time. Now, as for next week, we're obviously going to pick up in the midst of where we left things on Genosha. I'm going to talk about the synopsis for it, so if you don't want to know, then make sure you turn off now. Huge thank you for watching through the video, and please also hit the thumbs up on your way out. Cheers. Anyway, the episode title, gonna spoil it. The episode title next week, have you left? It's going to be called Bright Eyes. This title itself calls back to Time Fugitives Part 2, as it's what Rogue said to Cable.
Remember me, Bright Eyes?
Oh, shit.
So we're likely going to be dealing with what happened to lead Cable to going back in time, and I think we might see a version where he stops the attack. Obviously, they're not going to keep all these characters dead, mate, unless Marvel's just said fuck it. Either way, we know from the synopsis.
Dude, I think they could, man. Fuck it.
That Cyclops will be heading out to question Bolivar Trask about what's really going on with the Sentinels. However, the synopsis says they'll realize they've been played by a mastermind, which may tie into our apocalypse theory. Sinister is highly connected to him. However, I also wonder if there's others waiting in the wings. You touched upon Bastion, and the phrase mastermind could literally hint that it's someone like Mastermind. He's appeared in the series before, and he showed up during the Dark Phoenix 4-parter as the one who...
That would be wild, because Mastermind gets shown the secrets of the universe. So Jean, and it's kind of like Phoenix Jean, she's so mad that she opens up his mind to all of the secrets of the infinite and the universe, and it like melts his brain and like leaves him a bubbling, stumbling, idiot. So what if something he saw as he like gains... Oh, that would be crazy.
...to cause the entity to come forth. Using Emma Frost, they entered Jean's mind and created a dream world where the pair fell in love, making her join the Inner Circle group the Phoenix and burst forth, which may be a direction they could go. Also get the feeling that the Phoenix could show up down the line quite heavily in the series, as we do keep constantly having her popping up during those intro scenes. Jean's not exactly in the best mood at the moment with everything that's going down, and we could just hit a point where she ends up just going wild and unleashing it.
For sure.
I think that would be a really great way to take the season, and if you agree or disagree, then let me know below. Please drop a like on the video, and if you also...
Yeah, it's a good video. I think, one of the... Because there's obviously so many different storylines that they're cooking with, and it could be Apocalypse, could be Bastion, could be the Mastermind, could be something Dark Phoenix, could be Apocalypse, could be Mr. Sinister, could be all of them, could be none of them. What if it's Strife? What if it's an evil version of Strife, or like X-Man, right? Because there's a version of Nathaniel that doesn't have the virus that is like omnipotently, like super fucking powerful. There's all sorts of possibilities. Is there an Avenger versus X-Men thing? Are we doing War of the Kings? What is happening here? A lot of possibilities. So good breakdown from Paul. A lot of interesting stuff in there. And damn, I can't wait. I cannot wait until the rest of this series, man. Whoo! X-Men 97, they're cooking. They're cooking so good. Brother Blair says, like I said, I'm not sure if it's a new scene or an old one, but it was Def from X-Men 97. I can't remember if there's a scene in the show where he's putting his helmet on. Wait, who? Who's doing what? Julian, what's up? How's it viewing over on Twitter? Cooking like Gordon Ramsay. Oh, yeah. Swagnito. I mean, I kind of like that. Swagnito. Let's go. Swagnito.
Also want to support the channel as a member.
I'd have to read your previous message. Okay, right on. Right on, yeah. Read that to check it on out. Okay, there's one other news bit that I wanted to cover today. Anything else you guys want to touch on? Is there anything else going on out there? I want to talk about the Spider-Man 4 stuff because it's really interesting and there's a lot of implications as to what that could mean. I want to get into that. My hair's being all crazy. I got to go get my hairs cut, because I try to handle these curls. And I can handle it a little bit, but then it gets too wild. Kisses to you, bro. I'm going to tell my wife. Bastion makes sense as he was actually a big bad around that time in 97. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Bastion thing definitely makes sense. But there's a lot of other stuff operating. I saw somebody in chat bring up Cassandra Nova. That's quite interesting. What's the deal with that? Sorry, I just got in. Did you get any non-Daredevil yet? No. Thanks for asking. Really appreciate that. Oh, crap. We're not talking X-Men spoilers, are we? I mean, we were for a second, but yeah. How ridiculously funny would it be if it was Kang? No! Oh, my God, bro. You got to be kidding me. No! That was me who brought up Cassandra Nova. Nice. Yeah, I think that could work. But I just don't know. There's just a lot that it could be, They've showed Immortus in the original. That's true. I actually really liked that arc. That was really fun. With, the Nexus of Time and Bishop and all that. I thought it was really cool. Sydney Sweeney is Black Cat. Yeah, I'll talk about that in the Spider-Man 4 segment when we get into that. Which we'll get into it in just a second here. No Kang Coke cans. Is that true? I didn't even think about that, but that's probably true. Because nobody knows who Kang is, right? I would like to see Laura X23 on the show, but I don't see that happening. I mean, they're doing some timey-wimey stuff, so maybe. X-Men 97 is cooking? Hell yeah, it's cooking. Cooking with gasoline, baby. We cooking with gasoline. People seem to have the best luck with individual Coke bottles versus cans. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait a little bit and then get some more. And that's when we last seen Apocalypse in Immortus Castle, where was defeated. That's true. That's true. Can we talk about how they aren't making Wolverine the main character of the series? Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I like Wolverine, but, with the Fox movies and Jackman, they went a little too hard. X-Men is far more than just the Wolverine show. So, yeah, it's great that they're doing that for sure. Gonna watch X-Men 97 tonight. You're gonna love it. It's really good. You're gonna love it. It's real good. Okay. Oh, boy. What the heck? Let's talk about Spider-Man's 4s here, okay? Okay. So, Spider-Man 4, hot topic of discussion. We got some crazy updates, guys. I want to go over this. This is coming from World of Real. I don't remember what it was, but they've recently got another one right. They had another big scoop recently correct, and a lot of the insiders and scoopers are like sharing this around because they say that it's real. So I want to go over the article, and I want to talk about a couple other things. Remind me to talk about Sydney Sweeney, too, because there's some talk of her as well. But here we go. Sam Raimi in contention to direct Spider-Man 4. The MCU Spider-Man 4, the follow-up to the 2021 mega success, No Way Home, is supposed to begin production this fall in late September. However, Sony still doesn't have a director attached for this one. That's true. The John Watts thing, he's gone. They're going to go on to explain some stuff here. John Watts, who helmed the first 3 Spideys, has graduated to making films with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. He is not coming back. For months, Justin Lin was one of the names said to be in contention, but he's now hopped on board another project, MGN/Amazon's Steak Horse? What the hell? He's out of the running. Another rumored name was Drew Goddard, Cabin in the Woods, touted as another contender since January, but he's now heavily involved in directing the next Matrix film. Yeah, we heard about that a couple of weeks ago. Here's a big update that I'm sure will be greeted with open arms. This morning, I was told that Sam Raimi is now in contention to direct Spider-Man 4. That's right. Raimi, who directed the first 3 original Spideys back in the aughts, is in the running. No formal offer has been given to Raimi, but there have been talks. And it might all depend on whether Raimi's busy schedule permits it. He's attached to direct Send Help, a horror thriller, but that one might be put in the back burner for Spidey 4. I really hope Raimi gets it. 2004 Spider-Man 2 is known as not only the best Spider-Man movie ever made, but also one of the best comic book movies ever made. That's true. That is facts. Spider-Man 2 is goated. At least in my world it is. Raimi isn't just known for his Spider-Man movies. Some of his most notable credits include Evil Dead, Dark Man, Simple Plan, Drag Me to Hell, and of course, Multiverse of Madness, which is awesome, and if you don't like it, you're wrong. The other names I've been told might be in the running are John Francis Daly, isn't he a golfer? And Jonathan Goldstein. They directed Game Night, Dungeons & Dragons, and they wrote 2017 Spider-Man Homecoming. That would actually be lit, dude. Because like I said, Dungeons & Dragons, billion-dollar grossing movie in its quality. It didn't quite get there, in the actual numbers. But as far as quality is concerned, that it was of the quality. You see what I'm saying? They could be a good fit. Also, Jon Favreau, who kicked off the whole MCU in 2008 with Iron Man, is someone that has been mentioned to me a couple of times as a possibility. Now, that would strongly depend on what he's doing with this Mandalorian movie, right? Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay. Last little bit of the article here. Tom Holland and Zendaya are set to return in their respective roles for Spider-Man 4. Still no release date, probably late 2025. The last installment, Spider-Man No Way Home, grossed a whopping $800 million worldwide. It did way more than that. That's domestic. Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this. What the hell? Sam Raimi doing Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. First of all, chat, what do you guys think about that? Like, what do you think? Is that awesome? Is it whack? What do you think? I would personally love it. I love Sam Raimi. I think he knows Spider-Man. And also, if he's doing it, I feel pretty strongly that Tobey's coming back. I mean, look, we've been talking about this. I mean, how long has the sort of debate and the sort of mixed reporting been going on when it comes to Spider-Man, Tobey, and Andrew? Guys, I understand some of you just want Daredevil and you want street level and you want Kingpin. I understand. Those are established rumors. But I would not feel right if they brought him back to do Spider-Man and you didn't include Tobey. That's crazy to me. That would be crazy. So I think Tobey and Andrew absolutely going to be in Spider-Man 4. Sony and Marvel have been debating about this behind the scenes. That's the reports. I think you're going to have a happy medium. And as I've said in the past, I think the way they will bring in the multiverse will actually be through the Sinister Six. In the film, the big rumor currently is that you're going to have superheroes or vigilantes banned in New York City. Technically, we've seen the New York City anti-vigilante task force. We've seen those badges in the leaked set photos for Daredevil. So that's going to be a thing in Daredevil. It's going to be a thing in Spider-Man 4, okay? What I think is going to happen is that you're going to bring in certain mercenaries, certain villains, and they're going to be brought into New York. Fisk is going to hire them to try to track down and get rid of the vigilantes. Now, one of them that I was told would be Kraven. And so maybe if the Kraven movie's actually good, it'll be the homie. He'll come back. He'll be Kraven in that movie. They want to do a lot of crazy stuff with that. But there are new rumors of Sydney Sweeney possibly joining Spider-Man 4. And I think we're all thinking the same thing when it comes to Sydney Sweeney. Black Cat. She would be an absolutely incredible Black Cat. And I wonder, how would you guys feel about Sydney Sweeney as Black Cat perhaps being from a different universe or something like that, as a variant that is brought in to hunt down Peter Parker? And I think this might have something to do with Tobey and Andrew. Perhaps they're having villains go from their universe into Tom's universe, and they're like aware of that, so they're coming back to try to stop him. Like maybe it's like a third act kind of thing with Tobey and Andrew. But I think there's just too much juice there, especially if it really is going to be Raimi. I think that it pretty much guarantees you're going to get that multiversal stuff. Now, there's another angle here that's really interesting, because Raimi was also one of the names for Secret Wars. So a lot of people were like, okay, Raimi, probably one of the guys for Secret Wars. Well, if Jon Favreau is one of the names for Spider-Man 4, I would assume he's also in that conversation for Secret Wars. And I think Favreau doing Secret Wars would be fantastic. I wonder what you guys think. I would love it. So maybe Favreau does the Star Wars movie. He kind of helps develop Dave as a live-action director a little bit more. Then he kind of bails, does some stuff over at Marvel, helps us with some Secret Wars stuff. That would be fantastic. I would really like it. So it kind of gives you insight into where their minds are at for Spider-Man. I will also tell you that Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, the guys that did Loki Season 2, they've directed episodes of Daredevil Born Again. They've directed Moon Knight. These guys are really talented and really good. I've also heard that they could potentially be in the running for Spider-Man 4 as well. So, you know, there's a lot in here. I think Raimi would be great. I think it kind of hints that you're getting multiversal stuff. I think you might get that multiversal stuff via the Sinister Six, you know, those characters coming in. Black Cat, Sydney Sweeney, that could be a really interesting angle on that. Pause. And, of course, the mentioning of Jon Favreau gets me excited. And I wonder who is this all people that are kind of in conversation for Secret Wars? We're going to get a lot of answers this summer at San Diego Comic-Con. At least I believe so. I hope so. So wanted to pass this along to you. Updates about Spider-Man 4. What do you all think of this? What do you think? You like Raimi? You like Raimi on Spider-Man 4 or not? What do you think, chat? No multiversal stuff. Look, I just don't think that's not gonna be what happens. I want a good Spider-Man movie, not multiversal movie with Raimi. Well, did you like Spider-Man No Way Home? Rhino and Scorpion should absolutely be an MCU Spider-Man 4. Yeah. Don't want MON Fest. MOM, like Multiverse of Madness Fest? Yeah. I love it. I love his work on Multiverse of Madness. I feel much the same. I really like Multiverse of Madness. It's not quite a masterpiece. I've come down a little bit on it, but I still really like it. Sure, I just want the Defender saga in Spider-Man 4 also. That could be interesting. Here for the titties. Yes, that would also... I think that the way I would say it is Sydney Sweeney brings a lot to the movie. Raimi is like cheese. I like him on everything. Nice, bro. I like that. Multiverse of Madness was so underrated. See? I agree with that. She brings two really good things to the movie. Taking my Dune 2 bucket to Spider-Man 4. Jesus Christ. I like Raimi. He's a really good director. I like him too. I think he's pretty good. Moreland would most likely bring Sony villains from Kingpin Squad as the most villain. I mean, that could be interesting. Yeah. That could be interesting. Let's see here. We got a 10 spot from, well, hang on. Let me just catch up on a couple of these. Vandal says, 10 months, unbelievable, nerd-venging, unity. Speaking, I still haven't got my digital copy. Josh, see you at the town hall, bro. Really? Did you check your messages on Kickstarter? A lot of this shit's going through the messages on Kickstarter. But yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Oh my God, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Okay, if you are a Nerdvenger member, tonight at 7:30, is it 7 or 7:30? Well, we're gonna make it 7:30. Tonight at 7:30, we are continuing our deep dive on Superman, and I have a very special treat for you tonight. I figured out what James Gunn's Superman is actually going to be, and I'm going to reveal it tonight. I think we all missed something. And when I was researching Superman, I figured it out. I know what James Gunn is doing with his Superman movie. We're going to talk about that tonight at 7:30. Woo! Yeah, it's going to be cool. And I've been having a lot of fun with the Superman research. It's good stuff. Okay, let me get into this. Tim O'Brien says with the 10 spot, says, it's been a while since I was able to catch you live, Josh. Happy to be here and keep up the great content. Do you think Daredevil will be drinking Coke in the show? Yeah. MC, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Thanks for the love, man. I appreciate it. No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to drink Coke, no. I'll probably still be drinking this Coke, though, when we see him again in theaters. Kaz says, do you think that Spider-Man 4 being streamlined sooner by Sony is more of a good or scary thing? I mean, look, I get it from their perspective. I mean, look, I understand where a lot of you guys are at, but you got to think about this from their perspective. You make Spider-Man No Way Home. It's the biggest movie the studio has ever had. You brought Toby and Andrew back. It was the biggest thing that had ever happened to that studio. Can you imagine getting ready to make the next one, and Kevin Feige says, yeah, we don't want to do a big multiverse. I know this just happened. I know it's the biggest thing that's ever happened to you guys, but personally, I'd love a more intimate story. And I don't think we should bring those two guys back. You'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind, dude? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, look what just happened. Why do it again? Money. Money. Like, come on, man. Are you kidding me? I'm all for an intimate story. Brother, I understand you. But you should try to extend understanding to them. That would be like setting up a movie, bringing in all these awesome characters, having the movie happen, and then be like, yeah, we're going to go completely away from that in the next one. Like, bro, nah. How many times in the history, like, you're talking about the ability to do something that you're not going to be able to do forever. You have a moment in time right now. I would absolutely do it again. I would find a way to make it really interesting, really compelling, different than what happened in the last one, but you want the same juice. Extend the story. Like, come on. Delta Dan gifted a membership. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. Okay. There's one other thing I want to get into today, and then we can kind of kick it a little bit as well. Let me get this pulled up for you. Hang on now. Okay. Is this the one that's behind the paywall or not? Maybe this is the one. No, that's the one that was... Okay. No, we got to talk about this. We got to get serious for a second here, okay? I'm going to pause the music. Okay. Okay, hang on. So, one of the things we've talked about, and we've speculated about over the past couple of years, has to do with Kevin Feige being the CCO of Marvel. Okay? And so, therefore, the creative direction of even Marvel Comics, Feige has some say in. Some say. We don't know exactly what that looks like. We've never had any details about it. To some degree, I've thought, okay, I think what he's doing here is he's putting stuff into the comics that within the next 4 to 5 years would be adapted into the MCU. He's trying to create more of a connection between the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel's publishing line when it comes to comics. And I think that's great. Personally, I'm like, that's great. Okay. Now, enter this little story here, which we are going to now go over. Now, I have to tell you right away that Marvel has come out to debunk this. Interestingly, both Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios themselves emailed this company to refute this, which is strange. So I want to lead with saying Marvel is denying this. Now, let's go over it, and we'll talk about how they're denying it, and we'll try to explain what I think is going on. It's pretty interesting. Marvel writer explains what led to Miss Marvel being killed in Amazing Spider-Man. Note, this story has been updated to include a clarification from Marvel. Comics fans often wonder how heavy the hand Marvel Studios has in Marvel Comics. Why did the Samuel L. Jackson-inspired version of Nick Fury replace John Wayne-inspired version? How did Star-Lord become the music-obsessed space himbo? Why is Loki so morally gray and sexy? Why was Kamala Khan killed? Because, according to one Marvel writer, Kevin Feige ordered it. The story came from the most recent episode of the Amazing Spider Talk podcast. an interview between host Dan Gosden and writer Cody Ziegler, ostensibly there to promote Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Spider-Punk arms race. Ziegler gets into his career on both sides of the fence, writing for the She-Hulk TV show, and, oh God, he wrote on She-Hulk, and how that got him gigs co-writing the Beyond era of Amazing Spider-Man and eventually Miles Morales and Hobie. A lot of that involved working closely with Zeb Wells. Now, I just want to say this right here. Zeb Wells, pretty controversial writer. A lot of people that are reading Spider-Man right now do not like this motherfucker. The current writer of Amazing Spider-Man and the writer of issues where Miss Marvel dies. As Ziegler tells it, the request to kill Kamala and resurrect her as a mutant came from Feige, the president of Marvel Studios. They should have added the CCO of all of Marvel. It was funny watching when the whole Kamala stuff was going down, Ziegler says in the interview. He, Wells, had told me months before the plan, which was, Feige was like, hey, I don't do this very often, but can you please do this to make things in line with Marvel because we have some stuff we want to do with Kamala. So he, Wells, was like, fuck, I'm the guy that drew the short straw. People are going to be very mad that I have to kill Miss Marvel. In a statement Tuesday afternoon, Marvel and Ziegler version of the events was inaccurate, describing Miss Marvel's death as a collective Marvel editorial decision that the team had been working on for a while for her development in core comics. Okay, I'm going to say that again. In a statement Tuesday afternoon, I think this came out Tuesday morning, Marvel said Ziegler's version of the events was inaccurate. They described Miss Marvel's death as a collective Marvel editorial decision. It came from editorial, not Kevin. The team had been working on her development, and it was core to the comics. Fans may recall that at the end of the Miss Marvel Disney Plus series, Kamala's friend Bruno mentions noticing a mutation in her DNA, triggering a sting of 1990s X-Men animated series in the style of Miss Marvel's score. This was followed in The Marvels by Monica Rambeau getting sucked into a parallel universe where she was tended by Kelsey Grammer's Beast from the Fox X-Men franchises. So some stuff would appear to translate as mutant stuff. In May 2023, Amazing Spider-Man 26 by Wells and John Romita Jr., Miss Marvel, disguised as Mary Jane, sacrifices herself to stop Raven the Emissary. News of her death carries over to the X-Men, where Cyclops is upset about the death of his former champion's teammate. So he has Kamala resurrected on Krakoa, at which point it is revealed she has both mutant and inhuman DNA, adding another layer to the character who was already a nexus point of intersectionality. She then goes on to join the X-Men and star in 2 miniseries co-written by Iman Vellani, the actress who plays her in TV, and Sabir Pirzada, who wrote the Miss Marvel and Moon Knight TV shows. But fans didn't know all that when Kamala died. Ziegler goes on to say in the interview, I felt bad for him, Wells, because people didn't know that she's gonna quote-unquote die. It's comic books. She comes back, of course. Did anybody catch that? All of you guys that are like, you can't bring him back, don't bring Iron Man back, don't bring Thanos back. She's gonna quote-unquote die. It's comic books. She comes back, of course. But you don't realize that when she dies and comes back. The Miss Marvel is going to be writing her. So I remember when he told me that, I was like, that's so cool. People are going to lose their minds. Well, they're going to lose their minds because she died. But also, I think, are really going to be excited because for the first time, an MCU actor is going to be actively participating in creating the lore of the character in comic books proper. By the way, I have no idea how well the Miss Marvel series is doing that she's actually writing. And if anybody in chat knows, let me know. Like, how's it going? Is she getting sales? Jokingly, Ziegler recalls, I was like, yeah, it sucks for you. I'm glad I don't have to do that. But it was funny watching him get savaged online, knowing that he's the guy who has the answer to call of Daddy Feige to make this sacrificial play. Again, Marvel denies this version of events. While president of Marvel Studios, Feige also is chief creative officer of Marvel Entertainment, giving him a direct line to the comic side of the business. Generally, Marvel comic brass have said Feige is largely hands-off with the comics, such as when Marvel's senior editor, Jordan D. White, told AIPT in 2022, they always tell us, we're not looking for you to change what you're doing to fit with what we're doing. We want you to stay 5 to 10 years ahead of us because we want you to be doing fun and interesting stuff that we can do down the line. That feels like exactly what I was speculating on. That's an appropriate thing for them to try to do. Very interesting. Ask for his thoughts on Ziegler's story. Xavin said, I think we all thought that this death was done for the brand synergy with the Marvels film. And that with Krakoa about to fall apart, the timing on when to resurrect Miss Marvel was closing. What surprised me, though, was that Feige had such a large hand to play over the comics, especially after the prevailing thought that he was letting the comics basically do their own thing. As a Spider-Man podcaster, what upset me most about how it was handled was that it disrupted a major Spider-Man story ending, shifting the focus away from successfully concluding a year-long major story just for brand synergy. Amazing 26 was not received well. Reviewing issues for Comics FX, Armin Babu wrote, a bizarre celebration of the anniversary of the night Gwen Stacy died. Spider-Man 26 doesn't just fridge a woman in Spider-Man's life, but a teenage Pakistani Muslim right during Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Yo, I'm probably going to get some shit for saying this, but that also kind of sounds like a Feige thing because of what he did with the Ancient One. And he thought he was like doing the right thing. He later realized just how daft of a decision that was. I'm not going to say exactly what I was hoping they would do for the story. Well, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. The internet was not kind to Wells after Amazing Spider-Man 26. Then again, it wasn't kind to him when Marvel announced the upcoming Spider-Goblin story in Amazing either. Yeah, he kind of sucks, though. As Ziegler said at the time, we don't know Kamala was going to be resurrected 2 months later in the Hellfire Gala one-shot. We didn't know Vellani and Prezada were going to be shepherd the character through 2 miniseries to reestablish the character's place in the Marvel Universe. We didn't know how important she was to be X-Men, blah, blah, blah. The Ziegler interview touches on plenty of topics such as the writer's room atmosphere, beyond era of Amazing, dealing with Spider-Man, tangled web continuity, the different versions of Miles across media and how they were influenced by each other, reaction to Miles Morales' Thor issue, motivations behind Miles' villain rabble, Ziegler's punk rock past, and not allowing the police to use the Punisher logo in Spider-Punk, and more. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. So, I think the main thing here, right, is you have people that actually worked on this stuff talking about this. And in my experience, like, here's the thing. I have to say that Marvel and Feige are denying this. I have to bring that up. However, what do we think? That they were just lying? You think Wells is lying? You think the other writer's lying? Like, what do you guys think's going on? Is this like a James Gunn debunking? Where Feige made it happen, but maybe he allowed editorial to work out the details, and now all of a sudden they're like, well, it was editorial the whole time, when technically it wasn't. All that statement did was say to me that Feige was involved, but shifting it to everyone else was involved, not just Feige. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Debunking, yeah. Right? And I don't know. I mean, I have so many questions about this. Because I love the idea of brand synergy, but I also agree with the point that, like, by doing it in that exact book at that exact time, it was stupid. You know what I mean? And I think the original version of this is, like, better than what they are maybe reporting here. And I also feel like I'm a little bit like, okay, so if Marvel Comics is denying this, Marvel Studios is denying this, I mean, they really want to deny this. Do you know what I mean? So they really don't want people to think that Feige is now changing things, calling shots, making moves to make the comics and Marvel line more up. But I'm confused as to why. Why wouldn't you celebrate that? It seems like a good move. If you're doing it, you must think it's a good idea as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's kind of interesting. Like, there's layers here. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so wait a minute. You're telling me that it was like just Marvel editorial was like, let's get Kamala Khan to write comics. And I haven't read any of her stuff. I'm sure it's fine, especially because she has a co-writer. But I mean, she's not a comic book writer, right? So do we think it's just Marvel editorial that's like, let's get Kamala Khan to write the Kamala Khan book? I mean, come on, man. That feels a little bit like Feige, right? No? So, I don't know. I wanted to bring this up to you guys. I find it to be really interesting, especially because we've been having that conversation for a while. And we've been trying to figure out, what does it look like? This is one that I don't know. I don't really know how to make sense of this. You know? But it's something I want to keep an eye on. And if we see some other stuff pop up, we can talk about it. So, yeah. I hope I didn't ruin my chances of ever writing at Marvel Comics. But I also like to do my job properly. Here, I have to just explore these ideas. I have to just say the way I see it. And yeah, I mean, it just feels weird. Definitely feels weird. What do you guys think, chat? It reminds me a little bit of like that same energy where Marvel was trying to deny that they were not using the X-Men properly when they were over at Fox. Right? Where they're like, dude, what are you talking about? We love the X-Men. We've always been. It's like, no, you've clearly not been using them. You've clearly been undermining the X-Men because of Fox. But they can't like admit that. Or like, here's another example. Magic the Gathering. Okay? Homie brought this up earlier, right? So Magic the Gathering, legally, they are not allowed to acknowledge the secondary market. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? Does anybody know where I'm going with this? So, Magic the Gathering. You buy the cards, they're random. Some of them are more valuable than others. That is because of what's known as the secondary market. So let's say I crack a pack and I get an incredibly rare Planeswalker card out of my Magic pack. Holy shit, it's worth $200. I sell it on the secondary market, okay? But here's what gets interesting. Legally, Wizards of the Coast cannot acknowledge the secondary market. They definitely cannot acknowledge that they are aware of how valuable the cards are that they put into their boosters are in a secondary market. So we as the fans can see that in order to sell the latest set, they're going to put in cards that they know are valuable because of the secondary market. We know that's what they're doing. But they can never admit that because it would break the law. That's like market manipulation. You see what I mean? So is there something going on here where we all know what it is, but they have to say it's not that for some weird legal reason? I'm not really sure. But it is interesting. It's something I want to keep an eye on for sure. Maybe they thought it would make Feige look like a dictator and they didn't want that. I don't know. Seems weird. Yeah, I agree. But it does seem weird, right? Like maybe that's what it is, but like, I mean, don't we know that I mean, I kind of wish Feige was more of a dictator, to be honest with you, because the shit over the past couple of years sucked. So I don't know. Interesting. Okay, is there anything else going on out there? Chat, anything else we should be talking about? Bro, we almost have 2K on Twitter? What the hell? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. We got like 2K on Twitter. We got like 600 over here on YouTube. We got YouTubers got to be like liking the video more and shit though, because I want YouTube or viewers as well, like more of them. Like you guys are killing me. You guys are killing me. Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. I think that's a good stream. Let's talk about the Boston Dynamics robots and how they'll take over in 100 years. 100 years? Probably like 2 or 3, to be honest with you. But yeah. Nice Cillian Murphy shirt. Yeah, I'd be down. I'd be down with Cillian Murphy as Doom. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey, Josh, will you ever show us your streaming setup? What do you mean? I got 2 monitors. I got my computer. I got my mixing board. I got my mic. That's pretty much it. How did your tweet to Coca-Cola do? I decided not to tag them directly. I thought it would be a bit uncouth to do that. But yeah. Damn. You're talking about this Atlas robot, Adam? Oh boy. Yeah, we're done. Yo, we're done. Hey, Spawn 352 is out today, and the colors are done by Robert Nugent, and he does the colors for Unity. It's part of the reason Unity's a little bit behind, to be honest with you. Fucking Todd, why don't you ease up on my boy? God damn. But yeah, you should check that out to support Rob. For sure. Josh trying to work for Coca-Cola? Shill. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. How would I fix the Amazing Spider-Man comics? Oh, bro, that is a way too complicated, convoluted answer. I will tell you, though, I'm putting together a couple ideas for a Spider-Man story. I have a really great Black Panther / Doctor Doom story that I've been developing, but I think I'm going to develop a Spider-Man story, too. And I'm getting an agent, and I'm going to tell Marvel Comics that I want to write for them. Just be like, yo, I'm a good writer. Let me write for your fucking company. And then Feige will be like, no, I saw what you said about me, bro. You'll never work at this company. And then I'll be like, and I'll come on and cry on stream with you guys. Like Kevin Feige said, no, because I spoiled this stuff and I said he didn't do good with the Ancient One. Ah! You know? Why not write on movies? I mean, I could write on movies. I thought about writing some screenplays, but I like comics, man. I really like comics. Do I think they're going to go all out for Comic-Con? I do, sir. I do. I think we're going all out, baby. Hell yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the love. Just got home. Going to spend some time with the family. Later, Nerd Venture says Matthew Carrero over on Prime, and you resubbed. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. It's very kind. Going to get on out of here tonight, 7:30. We're deep diving on Superman. You could do it over here. Become a member on YouTube. You could become a member on Twitch, and you still get access over there on Twitch. So, check it out. What's for lunch? I'm not really sure. What's my time zone? I'm in ET. Eastern Time or Eastern Standard Time or whatever. Yeah. All right, everybody. Much love. Appreciate you guys. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Hang on, we got one from Anakin Stark here. Finally catching live. Holy Coke debacle. Should have got real stuff and had way more fun. Was laughing my ass off. Love the new direction of the channel. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. And yeah, that shit was pretty funny, for sure. I still got a lot of Coke, though. Damn. Rossi! Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry about that. Another happy landing. That was a good one, man. Good to just kick it with some news. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Tonight's going to be fun. We got a lot of Superman to go over, so I hope to see you there if you're a member. If you're not a member, what the fuck are you thinking? You should do it. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get a little Twitch stream in tomorrow. Do some gaming. Hang out over on Twitch. That'd be kind of fun. All right, everybody. Make sure you open up your third eye. And wash out. You're stinking. But...